Rocker, we're still trucking along just fast enough here in the LPL Pro Rocket League ANZ Championship. Once more, we are coming at you live here from the heart of Auckland City in the Sky Tower. My name is Matt Smite. This guy, though, he's not Steven.
I'm not Steven.
Mr. Watson's not here this week, so we brought in New Zealand's favourite voice. It's Jonathan Arkadian Jansen. And we've actually stolen him away from the high school league here just for this week.
Ooh, just for this week, but it's exciting to be here. I think Rocket League is one of the most aesthetically pleasing esports to watch.
Absolutely.
It just is amazing, and so I'm excited to be here. And I think we've got some amazing matches for today as well, which I'm excited to be a part of.
Oh my God, man. Just wait until you see the matches. But before we get into that, guys, let's take a rewind. Let's take a look at what we saw last week, because we've got a little bit of everything. First off, we had a pretty great, near the top of the table matchup in Ground Zero and Cringe Society, all the way to Game 5.
Game 5. Those always exciting matches.
Yeah, but it was Ground Zero in the end, picking that one up 3-2. Then we had Mindfreak getting a clean 3-0 against Team Esper, remaining at the top of the leaderboard. Team Esper looking to pick up a win this week. But then we had the big one, this one, Fury versus Renegades, and it was Fury who took out the win here in a 3-1.
Everyone loves an underdog, and I'm excited to see Fury. I mean, the form that they had was phenomenal. Take out Renegades. I think, I'm excited to see them play again tonight.
And of course, to round things out, last week we had Canberra Havoc getting a clean 3-1 against Overt, and actually eliminating the last team to have no losses. So everyone's now got to win. So let's take a look at those results from last week one more time. It's Ground Zero taking out Cringe Society with a 3-2, then Mindfreak getting a clean 3-0 against Team Esper, Fury getting the biggest upset ever against the Renegades in a 3-1, and then Canberra Havoc with a 3-1 victory against Overt, getting their first win on the board. And so with that all said and done, Arkadian, let's take a look at where that leaves everyone on the leaderboard, because we've got Mindfreak still sitting up there with the 4-0, still yet to pick up a loss. Then we've got three teams here where, actually Ground Zero in the second spot. Let's get that out of the way first with 3-1. Then Cringe Society, Renegades, and Fury are taking up the 2 spots that they need for the remaining top 4 spots here. So one of these teams has to come out with a win, and then rounding everything out, Team Esper, Overt, and Havoc, all there, just 1 win apiece.
And with 4 weeks behind us now, I mean, it just goes to show, you can see by the leaderboard here, the rankings, it is so important for so many of these teams to pick up a win tonight. But in their pathway to playoffs, tonight is the night that's going to decide that.
Yeah, and I mean, you can just look at the middle of the leaderboard to see Cringe Society, Renegades, and Fury. Same scoreline, 2-2. Yet we can only have 2 more teams in the top 4 joining Mindfreak and Ground Zero. So, like you said, today's matches are going to be oh so important. And well, let's take a look at them, because there's one big match that we'll draw our eyes to. But first up, it's Canberra Havoc versus Team Esper. Both of those teams going to be sitting on 1-3, so desperately needing a win. Then we'll have Renegades versus the Cringe Society. This is the big one.
This is it.
Everyone's been looking at that one since day 1 of the league. Then we've got Mindfreak versus Fury. That one is going to be a test for Mindfreak to see if they can remain at the top of the table. And then, of course, we've got Ground Zero taking on Overt. That's going to be a pretty David and Goliath match there for poor old Overt.
Yeah, they will be. And I mean, everyone's looking forward to the Renegades Cringe Society match, but honestly, I've got my eye on the Mindfreak Fury. I think last week Fury performed so well, they showed that if they can click, taking out Renegades, if they can click, they can fire. And so I'm personally really excited to see how they challenge Mindfreak.
Yeah, I mean, it's totally possible. No one thought they could take down the Renegades, so maybe they can go ahead and take out a victory here today.
And they did it fairly definitively. It was a 3-1 win. Even though the matches were close, it was a 3-1 win. And so I think if they can manage to do what they would, if they can reproduce what they did again last week, it might be a really good challenge for Mindfreak.
Well, Ark, you are going to have to wait just a little bit for that match, because we've got one in the way. We're going to have to get through match number 1. It's still a good one. It's still going to be a very close matchup, because both these teams on a 1-3 record. It's Canberra Havoc versus Team Esper. So let's start off with Canberra Havoc. These guys, they're coming back from last season where they were a grand finalist. They literally went to Worlds last year, and now their record's not looking too good. 1-3. I mean, Ark, that's scary for these guys.
It is, and I mean, on paper, you'd wish they would have come into the tournament with a little bit of a stronger performance in the early weeks, but they've been a little bit inconsistent. And for both of these guys, 1-3, it's important for them.
Yeah, so let's take a look at their lineups. It's Canberra Havoc with Walcott, Leduc, and last second, Tango is being swapped out. He's being subbed out for Evampel, who's jumping in. Now, Evampel's actually had a little bit of experience. He played in Gfinity like 2 years ago with kind of average results, so he's got some competitive experience in his belt. But let's talk about the rest of the lineup.
Yeah, I think between Walcott and LeDuc, they're obviously past teammates. They've got that previous experience with each other. Tango coming in as the rookie, and so I feel like it's still going to maintain the same team dynamic with Evarpol being in on Tango. And so it's going to be interesting to see. Tango's one of the lesser performing rookies coming into this league so far, and so to see how Evarpol competes with the team and how they merge, it could be interesting.
Probably the biggest question mark for us right now, but let's take a look at their opponents. It is Team Esper, and we say this every time, but these guys have been sticking around for a long time. The only team to have the exact same roster since last season. It's Delusion, Frenzy, and Steve. I mean, by this point, we know all of these names.
And it's important. This is in terms of coming into esports in general, I think this is an important thing to have that consistency between teams. And so it's almost a story tonight or today between consistency and a new roster. Does the experience of being able to trust your teammates come into play versus Canberra Havoc, who have a brand new sub coming in for today's match in the last minute in Evarpol, and how that team dynamic really works?
Yeah, and let's not forget though, they still get some of the good stuff from the synergy. They still have a good duo in Walcott and LeDuc, but let's talk about two players that won't have any synergy. It's the key player matchup. It's Walcott and Frenzy here. And so let's take a look at some of the numbers on the board, but these guys are kind of defensive players.
Absolutely. You can see very clearly that they're primarily, really strong defensive players. Walcott's had some spectacular saves through the season. You can see here very, very close on shots, although Walcott's been converting a lot more of the goals on target. But saves, when it comes down to the saves, Walcott has had some amazing saves contributing to that 1.71 average score over his 14 games. But Frenzy has been able to, be very consistent when it comes to those. We're looking at assists next. 3.3 assists versus 0.5, heading towards the, I'm going to round that to a 0.55 to a 0.6.
Walcott wants the glory, I think is the point.
Exactly. Whereas Frenzy's happy to sit around, take the assist, and be ready for the save, which I think comes down to, as a key matchup, these are two defensive players. Primarily, we're going to see who steps up tonight and can really make the difference when it comes down to that scoreline.
I like to think Walcott, though, gets just kind of like how Havoc gets the best of synergy and a new player. Walcott kind of gets the best of everything, right? Because he's still a defensive player, yes, let's not get that wrong. But you could even see on the stats, like he's still involved in all of his team's striking, all the shooting. He's even scoring the goals himself. He's getting in the mud, getting those demos up there too.
Yes, but I think that there's a advantage to not having to do too much yourself.
Yes.
And being able to rely on your teammates. I think he might feel like he has to be everywhere, or he's got a very clear, specific understanding of where he needs to be. But being able to go into the onto Esper's side, where you've been playing together for so long, you can trust your teammates. You can have that innate experience of where they're going to be, and you can feel where they are in the game. I think is really important, and it's going to come down to that's going to be a contributing factor on tonight.
Yeah, and when Esper look really good and everything's going their way, they look like a very well-oiled machine. And that's what we want to see out of a team here as we kick off game number 1 here, Canberra Havoc versus Team Esper, and already on the kickoff. That clear might look good, but it looks like Team Esper already on a strong start here. So they're going to be looking to keep pushing it forward, try and get it up to the net, but Havoc are fighting it at every opportunity here. They're looking for the clear and the 50-50. They have got it, but Delusion comes in and gets a really good one, and so it might be cleared to the corner. But Esper might still be going here unless LeDuc wins this 50-50.
Oh, got the crossbar. Coming in close.
Man, that could have been good, but it's a little too high, so we'll miss out on that one. But so far, Team Esper have been looking very aggressive, very strong.
And LeDuc moving forward again. Passes it through to the center.
So, can they get it away from this corner? Can they get it to anyone in midfield? It doesn't look like it. It's Delusion, seals it away. Even moves it towards the net a little too high, though. And so now, who's going to be able to take it away? And it looks like Canberra Havoc getting some decent clears.
LeDuc being fantastic on the clearance and then moving the ball forward. He seems to be everywhere at the moment.
Yeah, LeDuc doing a spectacular job here. Esper still catching the ball, still going for those passes. We haven't seen them go for a really good shot yet, though. No good passes.
LeDuc again, right positioning, right time.
And so, yeah, Havoc just seem to be in the right places. They're constantly clearing it away. Havoc, they haven't really got their good shot, though.
Here comes the demo.
Yeah, man, we're starting this off nice and explosive. Gotta love a good demo, gotta love a good demo. So now we might see our first real shot coming in from the wing. It's gonna be Delusion, but he actually catches it, goes for a patient play, doesn't take the shot. Too many defenders in the way.
Yeah, there's a really good patience there from Team Esper. Waiting, he saw Havoc, Walcott being in the goal, ready to go.
Yeah, and now that's actually a really good clear. So with that, Team Esper bought enough time, even with the demo, they could survive, not let this one go into the net so far already. A very low scoring game so far. Real tight between both of these teams, and so As we see, I believe that's a Vampel there, coming up strong. He's looking to disrupt some defenders, but no one there around, and his team's still looking to get the ball forward. Looks like it's time for Havoc to go home and defend.
And an attempt coming in on Frenzy. What a surprise!
He took that one real slow, so let's take a look at the replay here. And he's basically solid. Gets it by one defender. Now he's got another one to get it by. Takes it slow, flips it high, tricks LeDuc, and gets the first goal on the board.
Fantastic playthrough from Frenzy there. He did, with all the strong attacks coming through, that sort of felt a lot slower than it should have, and to come through and score that point. Great job by Frenzy.
Yeah, nice reading his opponent as well. LeDuc couldn't quite do it as well, as all of Esper go in and take the ball out of his hands, and now it's sitting in front of Esper's net. Havoc looking to send one back, but what a massive clear. What a boomer.
Huge.
Now Steve, passed from the corner, goes for the double touch, but it's just a little bit too slow. So Walcott can easily keep that one out, and now it's up to him to get it all the way down to Esper's net.
It is impressive to watch these guys play.
I mean, just the things they can do with the cards, right?
That's
unbelievable. I don't know how they do it. I don't know, man. I'm just flipping around and twirling through the air, and who knows how these guys do it. But still, though, Havoc are yet to get a goal on the board. They might be looking to get their first one here, but everyone from Havoc has shown up, looking to keep it out, and now that's an open net, Arkadian. Frenzy got to buy everyone.
Too easy on that goal. Walked it right in. Not a problem.
Yeah, you can see it. I mean, but I say he gets it by everyone. He gets it by LeDuc. LeDuc was the last man on the defense, and he was even being pushed around by, I believe, Steve. So pretty hard for him to do that.
I feel like LeDuc's been on defense a lot this game so far. He's been the last man standing, saved a lot of shots, but he can't get them all.
I mean, just look at how the game is going. Esper constantly having it up against Havoc's net. So, of course, he's going to be constantly trying to be in the defense. But there we go. Actually, a Vampel.
A Vampel coming out. I was just about to say that I hadn't sort of seen a Vampel do anything outstanding up until this point, and the synergy there is going to be interesting, but a fantastic strike coming through. Shot it right into the goal. That makes it 1-2 for Team Esper.
It doesn't even try to do anything tricky either. Just goes straight center there. Doesn't give Esper any room to try and find the time to get the defense, so just goes straight for the goal.
Keeping it nice and understanding the fundamentals, using the basics, high pressure environment, making sure he gets the touch of the ball, feels it okay.
The basics, ball and net.
Ball, exactly.
And they did it. They did exactly that. But it is still Esper with a 1-goal lead, so they have everything in their court, and they're looking pretty strong at the moment, but that's some pretty good clears, a pretty good steal, and an open net. No! If Vampel doesn't get it in, he's pushed to the side, and now it's back into the hands of Esper. Havoc's victory, their overtime slipped away.
And closing in on 1 minute left on the clock. 1-2 here for Team Esper. Havoc are going to need to look for something.
LeDuc had to do it again, but he was disrupted, so Walcott had to come in strong for his teammate. He managed to do exactly that, so now LeDuc has to clear this one too. 1 minute still to go. It's all on Canberra Havoc to get the job done right now. Esper can just sit back and keep it over on this side.
And LeDuc with another clearance over to Walcott, trying to control the ball, get onto the opposing side of the field. A Vampel with a clearance.
I mean, this is going fine for Esper, right? I mean, finally it gets cleared over to their side. If they can just clear it right back, then they're happy, right? Steve's looking to do exactly that. Passes it right over.
LeDuc's trying to get back.
I mean, LeDuc got back in time for sure, but that clear brought up so much time. That's like 10 seconds when you've only got 30 seconds left. Havoc have to push now.
They do. They have to make a move, and it's not going to look good if Esper get another goal. Delusion pushing it in with a wide open goal there.
Oh, wow, and just from halfway as well, Delusion just pops up. It's even a double commit, but it doesn't matter. It was dicey, it was a little close, he gets it on the edge, but that third goal secures the game for Esper. No way Havoc come back.
I mean, there's still a chance until the clock hits 0, but it's going to be really, really tough for Havoc. I feel like that might have been a misrotation there. Pulse, or Vampel just jumped up, didn't quite make it.
I mean,
but it did.
All things said and done, though, it's got to get up to this orange side. Finally it does, and Havoc have a chance, but with 10 seconds to go, 2 goals needed. They need to get a goal now if they want to stay in this game, and it doesn't look like that's going to happen. Steve sends it all the way to oblivion, sends it to the ground. It may stay in the air for a little while longer, but Havoc do not have the time to get another goal.
Running the clock out.
And as soon as this ball touches the ground, whether or not Havoc score another goal, it's going to be first game going over to Havoc.
I like the never say die attitude.
Never say die.
They were keeping it up the best that they could.
I mean, that's what arguably some people call Rule 1. I call Rule 0, though, because the other Rule 1 has taken over. But Rule 0, keep the ball in the air, whether or not it's good for your team at the end.
I can see the merit in that. So coming up from the first match, Esper taking the first game of the set.
Yeah, so I'd say the biggest question mark coming into before the game was Evampel. We don't know what he's going to be looking like. We haven't seen him since pretty much Gfinity. He's been in a few 3v3s, in some community events, but mostly his competitive experience was a while ago. Question is, did he live up to it?
I mean, he was the only one who put points on the board, although, it is a team game, so you can't give him all the credit there, and it was a pretty straightforward just push in. It was more his other team members getting the ball in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, I think he had pretty much set up for him in that one. he was there.
Yeah,
but he did his job.
And that is important. Positioning is being in the right space at the right time is a big part of the game. The question is, moving into this next game, what needs to change for something like this what can Havoc do to turn this around?
Well, I mean, looking at it right, it was pretty much Esper just always had the ball forward, kept Havoc on the defense. Occasionally Havoc would get it forward, but it was pretty quickly just cleared back. And then, Team Esper would catch it and then just start their attack all over again. And so it just feels like Havoc have to turn things up, have to get their aggression going, maybe work out their rotations or something, because it's not working at the moment. They need to get it on this orange side and keep it there.
I think that's the key as well, is that the aggression from Esper was just so dominant in that first game. Havoc need to really put on the pressure.
Okay, so keeping it in the orange side, already a good start here for Havoc. As Team Esper have already picked up game number 1, although they basically conceded this ball. Actually, as one member goes flying by, missing that one, has to rush back for the defense now, but in the careful hands of Leduc, it is actually taken away. Havoc really looking to boom this one away, and they may be getting a chance to do it soon, but it's looking so weak sauce from them at the moment. Finally, they get a decent clear.
And rotations coming through, they're going to pick that up on the defensive side fairly easily, get some time.
Actually, there's the aggression we might be looking for Havoc. Trying to steal it away from Esper in their half. And finally, they get close to doing it, but now it's Esper doing the exact same thing. Frenzy looking to steal that one away. Really wants to get it past the midfield, but unfortunately, Havoc get a great clear over to this corner on Esper's side.
Losing the collect. Evampel hitting it back into stopping the clearance.
Actually passing it back to Frenzy, and now they're going up for their attack at the moment. This is where Esper have looked pretty strong. They can get a good pass to midfield. There it is to Steve, but bounces over his head.
Not
and now
quite
with
connect.
that,
And Walcott.
Walcott almost had a free goal, but Frenzy was there, so he catches it just above the net. Nothing to punish too hard for that one, but it was close.
And I really like the way that Evampel this time is taking the initiative to be aggressive, to take those balls, not giving easy clearances. And it's already looking like a little bit of a different game.
But it's still in front of Havoc's net, and eventually it is going to go in. Steve, he finds a shot. I mean, we can take a look at the replay to see exactly how it went, but it was simply just not cleared very well by Canberra Havoc, made it a bit too awkward, and just set up an easy shot.
Yeah. I think if they did manage to get a clearance there, they would have been in a good position, but you can't allow 3 people to be striking like that at one time. It's just too dangerous.
Nah, man. 3 people hitting the ball at the same time. 3
Triple
times
commit.
the power. You get like a 300-kilometer-an-hour ball. That's how it works. Although I wonder if like there is the physics in the game to do that. I mean, maybe this is like a Mythbuster YouTube video on the waiting, but
have a ball traveling so fast to demo a car.
Well, no. You hit one guy, who hits another guy in front of him, who hits another guy. Does the momentum all carry through those? Maybe that's not even how it works in real life. I'm not a physicist. But Team Esper still ahead, still keeping the ball forward. Havoc have looked a little better at pushing it up to their side, but I mean, we might see a good example of it right now, as Esper catch it pretty easily and clear it away. But Havoc are actually fighting for it.
Well, Evampel was there. He was contesting the clearance. And
that's a good clear.
I couldn't quite get the angle there. But they are there's a different level of aggression here, which is exactly what we wanted to see. Another attempt by Evampel, but didn't quite go in. And now the clearance from Esper, having pulled 3 people back. Yeah,
and now we're seeing Team Esper starting to get put to the test on defense right now. They are starting to win. They're getting a lot of these saves. I would say that the 50-50s are looking pretty good for... Oh, Havoc!
Hey, Evampel coming through! Fantastic assist, and they just kept that pressure up. They attacked and attacked and attacked until they couldn't save anymore.
And you see 3 defenders as well in front of the net. They're all going for it, and that's what happens when you keep an attack up for so long, is eventually everyone's got no boost. They've all got to just launch themselves at the ball.
Something's got to give.
Something has got to give. So we're tied up now, Team Esper and Havoc. Havoc looking pretty good, and oh no, right underneath Evampel. He's going to feel a little upset about that, but not too much. His team did catch the ball, it didn't go in. Shot of the net, but pretty, bit of a dream, that one, to get in.
It wasn't the most convincing clearance, though.
Yeah, I mean, it did get clear to the side, though, so it's mostly safe. This one's going to roll on over to Steve.
Here we go.
Going to go through the air. Does he take the shot?
His bread here.
He does. Oh, Steve went for the shot instead of a pass, so Walcott easily takes it out of his hands.
And they had set up a really good attack there. I'm surprised that they went for that and didn't play it a little bit slower.
Yeah, it's still here in front of Havoc's net, and they're still struggling to take it away. I feel like this is where they were looking good before, but Team Esper, maybe they've learned. They're hanging on to it, keeping it constantly in their possession, even in Havoc's side.
And now Rumble taking over the clearance. LeDuc setting up with Walcott going down on the other side.
I mean, he tricked him, but it still ended up going to someone from Team Esper. So, I mean, who really got tricked there?
Right idea, wrong execution.
Right idea for the wrong team,
yeah.
Possibly. But we do get it back to Team Esper's side in what feels like a long time, actually. So they easily clear it back there.
And approaching the 1 minute mark here, 1-1 on the scoreboard. Havoc playing a completely different game than what I feel like we saw in the first game.
Yeah, actually being competitive here, actually keeping up in terms of the score. And if they manage to find one here in the final 50 seconds, they may even be able to skip overtime entirely. Although it does go back to their side. Does it get out of the hands of Delusion? It does. LeDuc sends it to the midfield, and now Canberra Havoc looking to set up their attack, but immediately it's stolen away by Team Esper. We're just going back to clearing it. And
Avampo was ready there to take that if required.
Yeah, and
they're coming through.
Some slow shots coming out from Havoc. They're not too pressured to find a goal at the moment. They're probably happy to go to overtime, but that said, while they're sitting in the orange half, they may as well pick up a goal.
Oh, he missed the ball. He missed the clearance. Delusion picks up a fairly open goal here.
Fairly? 100% open. Look at it.
And no one's there. No one's home. Picks it away.
Oh no, and Havoc in their final moments, maybe they were feeling the pressure to get one more goal because they had all three members up and they were punished so heavily for it.
Unfortunately, that's a mistake that I feel could have been avoided.
Yeah, and now they have 20 seconds, not even that, to find one more goal, and it's in their half. They've got to get a good clear, they've got to steal it away, hold on to it, and then take a shot and get it in to have a hope of going to just overtime. Esper, though, they might find one more in here. 3 seconds to go. It's a long shot. Esper going to be looking to send it to the ground, but it was almost Havoc that did it.
Can they keep the ball up? We're going into... It's bringing it down to the ground. Overtime. Not overtime,
There's no one there.
No, the ball hasn't touched the ground.
The ball has not touched the ground. Arkadian.
LeDuc is struggling to keep it up. They just want another chance at this goal.
They want it so badly they send it back to their net even, but it's a little too hard. Esper kept it over on the other side in overtime. That final goal with the open net, though, sealed the deal there for Esper. And Havoc, I mean, now we're going to start talking about tilt, because that's a tilt.
That was. I mean, I felt like the first 4 minutes of that game was so close.
Yes.
And to come down to, you know, a greedy clearance, he wanted to, I couldn't quite catch it. I'm not sure if it was Walcott or LeDuc who tried to take that clearance and just missed the ball, and then it just left an open goal for Delusion. I mean, trying to push the win, I understand, but that's got to hurt. Yeah,
and Delusion, real interesting as well, because he was super far forward in very critical moments for the game, right? 20 seconds to go. Next goal essentially wins the game. And he's sitting basically in position to send the ball in. So aggressive positioning from him as well. But it paid off.
And I feel like coming off into pushing overtime would have been a good idea from a psychological point of view, fighting into this match, losing the first game, having a 1-1 into overtime in the second game, creating that high pressure environment. Because if you do manage to make that split, and if you do break Esper and score that goal to take that game too, it does a lot to hurt them. And for the series, it's very important.
But now look at the series. It's 2-0 to Esper.
Exactly.
They're sitting in a reverse sweep position right now if you're Canberra Havoc. You've just lost a game in probably the most tilting way possible, apart from maybe an own goal. And so now their mental fortitude is put to the test. Can they come back and win 3 games in a row?
We will find out. It was a high-risk play for a very, very large reward on the table, but unfortunately they missed out, and now they're going to be forced to. They're going to have to go big, or they will be going home today.
Okay, so Havoc looking better in game number 2, but it still wasn't quite enough. Can they do it here in game number 3? They've got a big, long shot here. It's not going to be like the end of game 2, though. If
they continue the trend, who knows? Maybe they'll improve even more.
Yeah, and one thing, because there was so much to say, actually, is we may have Esper taking a shot. One more player, Frenzy in the background. There he goes, and he takes the shot and takes it in.
I feel like they got a little bit grouped there on that side. Their rotation was a little bit off. We had Walcott, Avampo, and LeDuc all on that left side of the field. LeDuc didn't quite get into the air in time.
I want to put props to Delusion there. He kept the ball in the air, center in front of the net for a long time, and set it up for Frenzy to come in and take the easy goal. So Delusion really carrying that goal there and giving Esper an early lead.
Credit where credit is due, it is.
Oh,
And it's going to make it that much tougher for the mental fortitude of Havoc to be able to come back. Now they're playing from behind again. Familiar feeling, unfortunately, for this game.
Yeah, it's not so bad when it's tied up and it's not so pressured, but now they have to go in and get a goal. And they're still on the defense as well. Esper not letting that aggression line up either. Steve sitting in a position, waiting for the net, and Frenzy almost looking to do what Delusion did. Oh, double commit, actually. A little awkward, but now this gives Havoc the opportunity to send it down and maybe even take a shot. Going for some disruption, bumping Frenzy around, but no one there to take the shot. And Esper should be able to send this one back.
And moving onto their side of the field, Frenzy is going to be picking that up and clearing it out. I feel like there's two types of teams in this situation. You have the teams under these pressure environments who go big and they're going to come out and absolutely turn this game around, or they're going to completely break. I'll be surprised if this is an incredibly close round once the scores start to add up.
Yeah, this could end up being a very one-sided game here. Team Esper keep the momentum going. To their credit, though, Havoc are sticking it to them, keeping it up, but it's rolling all the way to the net. And Walcott,
with the equalizer.
Basically a solo play there as well. He gets past to him here, he catches it, actually changes his plan entirely. And all he has to do is get it by Frenzy, tricks him, easily gets it done.
Fantastic patience as well, to be able to take that in slowly, play it well, make sure it came through. That's the consistency of an experienced player.
And a quick reaction as a team as well. They pass it to him, basically flip their plan entirely and turn it on the attack. So getting a point on the board, all that pressure, a whole lot less right now.
Although it is just equalizing it up. It's basically take it back to 0-0. 3 minutes left on the clock. It is still in Havoc's court to be able to bring this back and score those points.
Yeah, and that clear right into Evample's hands means it stays right in Esper's side, but an even bigger clear means Havoc have to work a whole lot harder to get it all the way back there, start sending it down. This 50-50 is not actually going to happen, as no one goes to contest it, but Esper still looking to get it out of their half, and now it looks like maybe we might have a shot from Havoc coming up soon, but
Whoa.
Steve still with a big boomer of a clear.
Evample shooting through, missing that touch, but they've got the clearance, they've got LeDuc back there, playing a fantastic defensive game so far.
A good 50-50 win by LeDuc as well. Now he's sent all the way up. Walcott rotating back for defense. They're not too confident. He's going to be grabbing that boost as well to make sure he's got enough juice to put on a strong attack or rush back, which he might have to do pretty soon.
Keeping the pressure in Esper's half.
Yeah, no, almost looking for a shot there by Walcott. Oh, no! Evample out of nowhere. In fact, the whole team out of nowhere. Are they going to get punished for this? Esper going to have to rush it back quickly. I don't think they managed to do it in time. And Walcott!
Oh, almost made it all the way through. Evample did manage to repent for his sins there slightly.
He doesn't get a goal for it, though. And that's exactly what they need right now. But 2 minutes to go. Now we're over on Havoc's side. And Esper, I've got to say, they weathered the storm.
And I trust Walcott or LeDuc for the nice clearance coming through. Putting back on the pressure. 1:40 left in this game at 1-1. This match is so important.
Walcott could have sent that in. Just a little to the side, could have been his, but unfortunately stays out. And now we're still tied.
Didn't quite get the angle.
Yeah, it would have been nice, but these pressure moments getting to him maybe. But he's here for another one. Sends it to LeDuc, who actually catches it over in the corner. He's looking for a pass back to Walcott, but two members from Esper double the defense. Obviously, that's how it works.
But Evample going in for the shot.
But it's too straight on. It's too straight on, and so Esper catch it, send it back out. Now, they don't get it out of their half, so the attack continues.
And I feel like that's going to be one of the cruxes of this match, is whether or not, 1 minute remaining, whether or not Evample can start to make those plays he's going for.
Yeah, and Walcott and LeDuc certainly, so far, trying to live up to their reputation here.
Steve's been very consistent so far in this defensive game.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't had much to say about him, apart from he's been saving a whole lot of goals.
He's saving a whole lot of attempts.
Which is all we need to say about him. Or he'd like us to say about him, probably.
And Walcott bringing it forward here. LeDuc.
Oh,
and the shot!
But what a last-second save by Delusion. He does it again as well. Do they take another shot? Nope, that's all done for Havoc. Oh. And now there's no one in the net. And with 23 seconds to go, Esper find the second goal.
They do, and that is a fantastic play by Team Esper. Bringing it up, 2 players, not a concern in the world. I think they are probably arguing there who gets to take the shot, who gets to add the point to their stats.
I mean, it doesn't matter because Esper right now on match point, 1 goal ahead. Havoc have to find a miracle right now, and it's already going back to their half. LeDuc has to get a boomer of a clear, and he doesn't even find that. And Pulse, he's just looking for a good clear to keep the ball out of his net.
The pressure is on. 10 seconds left in the game. Havoc need to do something now, but Frenzy is controlling the ball for Team Esper.
They don't have time to think about attack when all they can do is defend. 3 seconds to go. Maybe they can hope for a 0-second goal, but it's all the way across the entire field, and it doesn't make a single inch. Team Esper, 3-0, Canberra Havoc.
What a match for Team Esper. I feel like they definitely showed up today. This was an extremely important match that we talked about coming into the start with 1-3 on both teams. Esper picking up that very valuable win, 2-3 for them. And unfortunately, that's Havoc going to be on 1-4 for the tournament.
Yeah, now we're going to start talking about the individual player performance as well. I mean, first up, let's take a look at Team Esper. I mean, for me, Delusion stood out quite a bit. But that said, most of the players didn't stand out because they all consistently did their job.
Yeah, I think it's kind of hard to determine an individual player for Esper because they did. You know, Steve was obviously a fantastic on the defense, stopped Havoc coming through on anything, but then Frenzy and Delusion, you know, they were phenomenal on attack.
For me, I've got to say, the one that does stand out just enough is Delusion. You think back to the game-changing plays. He was in position for that open net in game number 2. The play at the start of game 3 where he just held the ball above the net. I mean, all just great mechanical little plays that are so smart. So Delusion picking up the MVP here, for me, I mean, I'd say maybe you agree?
Yeah, I got to give credit where credit is due for Steve. I think on defense he was great, but overall, when you take into account all of the stats in the game, Delusion, MVP for the game.
Yeah, and there it is. MVP here, Delusion. I mean, just all the great big brain plays along with the consistency. Delusion lives up to it. Quite a young player as well. Played in the, I believe, one of the high school tournaments last year for Rocket League. Went to some of the finals as well. So this guy has a very good career in Rocket League ahead of him if he keeps this up.
Yeah, I think his positioning, his awareness, the ability to really make the use of those plays where he can. He was a little bit like, you know, like Leduc was everywhere for Havoc. He was everywhere for Esper, but Esper came away with the win.
Yeah, and there it is, guys. 3-0. Team Esper getting it done. Canberra Havoc sitting down at the bottom of the table as Esper move up. But guys, we've got a big one for you coming up next. It is going to be Renegades versus the Cringe Society. Who's going to come out on top? Who's going to stay in the top 4? Find out after the break. And I hope you use that break time to go pour yourself a nice fizzing glass of Barocca because we've got a great match coming up for you here in the LPL Pro Rocket League ANZ Championship. My name's Smite, there's Arkadian, and he's joining us for this week only from HSL. And mate, we just had a banger of a match, a 3-0 Team Esper, taking out the win there. I mean, pretty good for what we thought was going to be a really close match.
Yeah, I mean, it was close to being close.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it always is. But
yeah, it was a rough one. They both, you know, they needed the victory, but good job to Esper for pulling away with the win. It's going to be important for them moving into the playoffs. But let's forget about that. Let's put that in the past because now we have one of the greatest matches of today.
Yeah, that's
the greatest match of today.
It is the one that everyone had their eyes on from the beginning of the season. It is the Renegades versus the Cringe Society, defending champions versus the new Oceanic super team. And who's going to come out on top? Now, let's preface this. Both of these teams have not met their expectations.
No, I think on paper, I mean, a lot of people would have expected these teams to be first and second. They have gone, they're currently 2-2 each in the season. They haven't quite, have shaky performances, but on paper, these two teams have the potential to be absolutely amazing.
Now, as well as 3rd, 4th, and 5th place all being in a 3-way tie, but we need the top 4. Whoever wins this match here is also going to be helping themselves stay in that top 4. Going to be super important in this matchup. But let's wait no longer. Let's take a look at both of the teams. Let's take a look at the Renegades first. You know all of these names: CJ, Kami, and Siki. Now, these guys are, I mean, they've had some great performances so far, but again, haven't really met their expectations.
No, but I feel like in terms of playstyle, the Renegades are one of the only teams with a distinctively aggressive style. They will steal your boosts. They will, you know, bleed you out of resources. They're going to be in your half the entire game, putting on that pressure. And so I'm hoping that's what we're going to see from this game, but it depends on how Cringe Society can react to that.
Yeah, well, let's take a look at Cringe Society. Because, of course, like I mentioned, Oceanic super team. 3 different teams these guys came from last year: Torsos, Spydoge, and Drippe. Now, again, when you say super team, you think, wow, a team that just wins everything, but hasn't been the case.
And I think that might come down to the fact of, you know, experience and synergy. These are 3 super players from 3 different teams playing in their first split together, and so, you know, it's going to be interesting to see, is experience going to really be the glue that pulls these 2 guys together and creates that winning formula?
Yeah, and because when you're going up against the Renegades, they've got experience too. These guys have played the game for a long time too, so the test is really put to them. Let's take a look at the key player matchup though, which is it's a fun one. It's CJ and Drippe, both of them played on the Chiefs last year, so they know each other well.
They do, and looking through the stats here, CJ's had a few more games this season versus Drippe, and he's been, you can tell that he's a goal scorer. 4.12 shots per average game on goal, hitting 0.8 of those into the goals versus Drippe, who doesn't seem to have had many on-target goals. That's a bit of a rough stat for him. Fairly even on the saves. Drippe is falling back a lot more for the assists, and the demo game is relatively similar there.
I mean, you can see the aggression difference in the demos.
Yeah, you can, and that's, I think, completely quintessential to, you know, the Renegade play style of just being up in your face the entire time.
Exactly. You can't take your own boost if you're demoed. That's going to be pretty hard. But of course, yeah, there is a key featured player matchup. So coming into it, something I do want to point out in Cringe Society for Drippe's side was that you said his goals haven't really been connecting. That's been the case for Cringe Society throughout most of the league so far, is that they have not been connecting those goals. And so maybe that's the last thing they need to tighten up.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to tell. It's one of those things where you know, if you are, I talked about it briefly earlier, that if you are, they're veteran players, but they're a new team together, and that does make more of a difference than people realize. You know, you pull together these super teams, and often we see across all esports, these super team players do struggle to gel initially, but the only thing that can fix that is experience. This is now their 5th game together inside this tournament, and over time, I have, you know, faith that they're going to pull it together because they have so much individual potential.
Well, this is potentially one of their biggest tests. I mean, of course, there's always going to be bigger bosses like Mindfreak and Ground Zero a little later on in terms of the leaderboard. But Renegades, if they can take them down, which was probably the biggest question that everyone had when this team was announced, can they take down the Renegades? Finally, they get to have their test. Both teams are not having a great record, so they're both basically coming in for a bit of, not necessarily revenge, but desperately needing a win after getting some losses.
Validation. They need a little bit of a confidence booster, and I think even more is on the line tonight with the former teammates, you know, Drippe, Drippe versus CJ as the key player matchup, and that just adds to the stakes. And so I think with that on the line, with the leaderboard standings, very, very important at the stage of the game, they're both 2-2. This is going to come down to who shows up on the day.
Yeah, I mean, even talking about like players that are on the same roster, Torsos was from Cringe Society. He was on the Renegades last season as well, so he knows the team. So you've got just so much friendly rivalry. Oh, I hope it's friendly. But
we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. But it is for a very important spot because I think we have to go back to that because it is incredibly important, right? We move into playoffs at the end of round robin, which only has a few weeks left. We take the top 4 teams. In 3rd, 4th, and 5th place, there are 3 teams on the same record, although, no, that hasn't changed after the first match. So basically, whoever wins this match gets to move on forward, stay in the top 4, also with one of the more difficult opponents out of the way, which I think is another really important thing. But then the other team drops down, and they have to work their way back into the top 4. Yeah. And for both of these teams, that is a kick in the ass.
In terms of top 4 security, this is such an important match for them. And I don't think the stakes could be higher. With everything else on the line, I mean, this even feels like 5 of the 6 players in this match are Chiefs versus, or Chief Renegades past players. Except for Spy Doge.
yeah, something like that. It's crazy, right? But we have kicked into it. Finally, we get to see Renegades versus Cringe Society. We're kicking things off with the Renegades with their trademark aggression, pushing up against Cringe Society's net. Right by goes Kami, trying to get this one by. Can they find it? Siki gets it over to the corner, but it is cleared all the way back, so we're just going to slow things down just a little bit.
Slow the game down. They're going to get it back into their half, and we'll see a small attempt. CJ going for the clearance there.
Right into the center, and that's a bit of a risky clear there, but it's sent over to CJ. CJ, he takes a shot, but there's a defender in the way. So now it's the Renegades' turn. Are they going to go on for that aggression? Do they keep stealing a boost? It looks like it's shut down very quickly.
And Kami trying to collect, just gets them a little bit of control over that ball. Pass it over to Siki, who'll go for the clearance. But the aggression stays strong for Cringe Society.
Yeah, Cringe Society flipping it over, putting Renegades on the defense, which is probably where some of their bigger tests are going to be, but also securing these goals here for Cringe Society too. So we get to test both teams at once. As it goes in front of Cringe Society's net, they get a good clear. It's going to be over to the corner here. So if they can catch it, which it looks like they will, Torsos sends it over into the middle, but CJ sees his moment and nabs it away.
Spider with a nice collect there, just controlling the ball, pushing it back into Renegades' half of the field.
Almost maybe looking for a cheeky corner shot there with the angle he took.
They've left it open. That was a high risk, high reward play, and Renegades reaps the rewards from that.
Yeah, I mean, Kami steals it away. Spider just thought he had it, thought he could hold on to it the whole time, but Kami, bigger brain play, goes in, takes it away. Takes a minute and a half, but Renegades get the first point on the board.
And coming in, we're now 3 minutes 30 left in this match. 1 up in Renegades.
Oh, Cringe Society, oh, just right over his head.
Wanting to bring it back quickly.
Do we have anyone else there to send it in? We don't, and so now Renegades get to send it all the way back. That's going to hurt for Cringe Society. Could have almost got that one in.
And I think this is what we're talking about when we talk about how these players are, individually superstars, but I haven't seen that team synergy come through.
Well, CJ sending it right down the middle. It gets cleared down the middle as well, so Siki gets to go up in the air. Only clears it to his own corner, which goes right into the hands of Cringe Society, which is a bit awkward, but so far for now, neither team has really got solid control, solid possession of the ball. It's just constantly being taken away.
Yeah, I think that's what happens when you have aggression meets aggression. The ball is all over the place. These guys are scrambling for the defense. It's just being clearance over clearance.
Yeah, and you can imagine Siki's looking to do the exact same thing here. It's a bit of a soft one, though. It goes straight back to Cringe Society. Drippe is trying to get it out of this corner, send it to the middle. He does do just that, but with the clear up into the air, actually goes to Torsos, but they're still fighting for it. Renegades are never allowed to have the ball, but neither are Cringe Society.
Kami sitting patiently there for the defense, takes it, runs out the ball. Siki now getting back to defend.
Could have been a shot by Drippe there, but Siki was in position. They wanted to wait. Oh,
he didn't get up in time.
What are you doing, guys? Siki does his job, cool, but it does go back to Torsos. And Drippe, maybe Kami just wasn't ready for that shot. Didn't expect it after that clear.
I wasn't expecting that shot. It was great control.
But it was so
Torsos.
slow.
I don't think that they expected Torsos to control the ball and put it back into the center. Right place, right time.
I mean, that said, it gets the job done. It evens up the score. So Cringe Society feeling spectacular about that one. And now over towards the net. But of course, with all the defenders in the way, no one's going to be sending that one in. Oh, that's a shot, but it is a bit wide. Kami keeps it out anyway. Could have been close, but Cringe Society, I think they're turning things up a little bit here. Torsos looking for a big clear, but we'll have to rely on a teammate to do it. But in the end, though, no one gets it. It's going to have to be Drippe.
CJ moving up the field, ready for any attack. I feel like he's just ready to try and get something into that goal.
Yeah, another awkward clear from Drippe. Does go to the corner, so bounces around in front of their net, but they keep it out. And you could even see CJ going for the bumps, but the rest of his team not there to send it in. No one could really collect it.
No. But, Fen, I really like Kami's played a pretty collected game, considering the pace. Been available a lot of the time. Unfortunately, a bit slow on the goal that was conceded. But fairly composed.
Yeah. You can let it slip there. Just once. Yeah. You don't get another opportunity.
It can only take once.
Exactly. 1 minute to go now, and we are evened up, so we might get our first overtime of the day, but it's going to be a shot coming out from CJ. Almost going for a bit of an awkward shot under the defender there, but does manage to keep it there. Kami sees that he still has the ball, sends it back to Siki. They just need one man in the center, but no one was there, and it's taken away. CJ gets it up to the roof. Again, no one to collect it from his pass. So, taking it a bit slower, 30 seconds to go.
Pressure's on now.
Oh man, both teams want to skip this overtime.
It comes down to one mistake. This has been our previous match when Havoc cracked under the pressure. They managed to miss a big play and concede the goal to eliminate the opportunity for overtime. Will we see another team make the same mistake?
Yeah, well, Cringe Society still playing it pretty slow. Just want to keep clearing it up into the air. They know Renegades can just find a random goal and find a way to send it in. So they're taking it careful and essentially want to go to overtime. Don't want to leave anything up to risk for now. Siki's going to see what he can do with a few seconds left on the clock here. Cringe Society as well, but eventually Gravity does do what it does best, and we go to overtime.
And starting off strong, these teams are going to be wanting to attack fast.
Well, it looks like Renegades is going to be the first ones to do so, but Cringe Society, they fend them off. pretty easily, although Kami comes in and says, hey, we're not done just yet. Takes a shot, but easily cleared. A bit clear, actually, all the way back to the Renegades net, so close to their net and going in, but Spydoge has to clear it as it's sent right back to his.
And controlling the ball. There's a good attempt by Renegades there, not quite the execution that they needed.
Yeah, what can they find here? It has slowed down a little bit as both teams keeping it up in the air for now, but Cringe Society, they're creeping closer and closer up that field, looking to get kind of aggressive. You can see they're all halfway or more.
Also, Sved with the shot, trying to make that. I really want to commend Kami and Siki on trying to control the pace of this game. Both teams trying to control the pace. That was a close attempt.
Yeah, I feel like they're just trying to throw them out here, see what they can get done, see if one does slip through. Because, I mean, just one goal here, like you were saying, it only takes one small mistake to lose here in overtime. It is still just being saved constantly by Cringe Society, so props to their defense so far. Both
teams are doing really well, I think, in terms of controlling the tempo, not letting anything get a little bit too out of control, making sure they control the ball.
That was a good little scoop away there by Cringe Society, and it means they can send it up the field, but CJ does get to clear it to the side, and no one from Cringe Society was there to catch it, so we're just going to deal with this up in the air again. This is a slow overtime for sure.
Every second that overtime goes deeper, it adds to the anticipation. I feel the longer it goes on, I know there's no critical difference in whether it's 30 seconds in or a minute 30 in, but it adds to the anticipation for sure.
No way, man. It makes all the difference in the world. I don't care what science says. Doesn't matter to me, but CJ almost looks to take a bit of a late shot there, but does send it to the corner. Cringe Society happy to just send that one back, return to sender, goes to the net, but off to the side a little bit, so Renegades collect that one off.
The emphasis there that it's so easy to just let one slip, lose focus for 1 second, and have anything take the goal.
Siki trying to go for the pinch, sets it up for his teammate, but neither can get it done, so now Cringe Society hold that one out, and they send it back, and we're back to where we were before. Or maybe not. Maybe it's Renegades still keeping this one out.
It's the pressure here, the attack from Renegades has just been so strong. And coming in on Cringe Society, bringing out Drippy.
I don't think it's strong enough though, although CJ, he's looking to make a play, but 1v1, couldn't get it done in front of the net. Kami's going to be the next one to do so. Goes for the 50-50, keeps it in their side, but Cringe Society eventually do send it back. And now, Renegades looking for another attack. Cringe Society have been taking it out of their hands in this half so often. Can they continue to do so? It looks like they can.
I think both teams want to, Cringe Society, keep it in the Renegade side of the field, just keep shooting on those goals, wait until they make a mistake, collecting it composed, and just got to keep holding out. 3 minutes here into overtime.
Yeah, 3 minutes. A long overtime for sure in a low-scoring game. Over back to the Renegades. Maybe we can put their defense to the test during this overtime. I feel like Cringe Society, they've been on the D way too long in this overtime. So now they go for the attack, and it only takes a little bit of time, but Drippe finds it in the end.
Cringe Society manages to pull it out, and it's just one small mistake. And that was a fantastic. Kami there got hit, wasn't able to defend, wasn't able to jump up. Cringe Society taking out the win. We said it was going to be a close matchup. That was close.
That was pretty close. I mean, overtime, the first one of the day, low-scoring game. Both teams struggling a little bit to close out some of these goals. I think I'd say Renegades maybe a little bit more, but I'd say that's been one of their bigger weaknesses over most of the season. So it kind of worries me a little bit as someone who likes to see Renegades win. Is that have they cleaned up their biggest issue?
Yeah, I mean, I think Renegades, I think they're playing to what their capacity is. They're not necessarily underperforming, but I think slowly Cringe Society is just managing to get the advantage. The synergies are starting to show up there. The defense on Kami to keep him down while shooting into the goal, ended up being the critical difference for both of Cringe Society's points. And so it's a tough one for Renegade to come up against. Yeah,
you've got to shout out to the control for both sides, right? I mean, every time it's sitting in front of their nets, it doesn't last that long at all. Right? Yeah. They're setting up an attack, maybe looking to take 2 or 3 shots, but by the time they've got maybe one done, the ball's already back in their half and they've got to rush back for defense. So in terms of the defense from both teams, they're both looking good. They're both looking to steal away possession, and it's really hard for either team to hold the ball long enough to take some good shots.
With two such great aggressive teams, I feel like that's just the nature of what's going to happen.
Okay, well, they're going to meet again here as we move into game number 2 here. Cringe Society picking up a close game number 1. We'll see if they can do it again here. Already a shot taken, but as we know, the defenders, they're happy to keep that one out.
And Cringe Society trying to control the ball there. Drippy not quite managing to get it. Let's see what attack Renegades can put together. None. Straight back into the car, just like you were talking about.
Well, look, it's going back and forth for now, so it's not like either team really has control. We might see Renegades grab it here if they rush for it. Drippy does and bounces it over to the center field. They may be looking to take a shot here. It's being passed back and forth. Eventually, a shot is taken and Torsos finds it in. A whole team play there by Cringe Society.
And they're coming out of this half strong off the win from last game. Fantastic shot. CJ couldn't quite connect.
And I liked how they were doing it. They were passing it from opposite sides of the net, right? You know, the left side to the right side, and back again. And eventually it's enough to just create a weird angle that Renegades could not defend against. So 1 point on the board.
1 point on the board indeed. And then I think those moments of control are what we're going to be looking for in such a chaotic match.
Yeah, now Cringe Society, I mean, they get the early points, so now they can play a little bit less aggressively if they need to, and just deny Renegades from any points.
Or
just do that.
After the demo, they were ready. Torsos over the top. Drippy finishes it down. He's playing phenomenally.
Yeah, now that I get a second look at that play, that was a beautiful little one by Cringe Society. Over the heads of Renegades, straight into who they needed to send that goal in, and then Cringe Society, oh man, if I was saying 1 point on the board was enough to lighten the load, the pressure's almost non-existent now.
Now, I'm really worried for Renegades here because generally when you talk about the types of players that Cringe Society has, when we go through, you know, Spidos, Torsos, Drippy, we have these star players. When they start to get a lead and they get they smell a little bit of blood in the water, things can get scary. And it looks like Cringe Society might be ramping up to that point.
Yeah, and it could be scary if they take game number 2 here. We still have 3.5 minutes of that to go though, so let's continue that one in. Easily, it's cleared all the way to midfield. Oh man, what a good 50-50 as well. Even goes to the net, it's centered, and Spidos, that's all he needs.
3-0 to Cringe Society from Renegades. They are ramping it up. They're using the momentum.
Oh my god, man. Like, Cringe Society, the last 3 goals have actually all been very beautiful. They've all been whole team plays. They set everything up from long distances too. I mean, I don't even blame the Renegades for not keeping them out.
3.5.
Oh no!
Well, Kami will not lay down and take it without a fight.
Oh man, okay, so it's just straight in. It's one of those awkward kickoffs where it ends up bouncing off the corner. It's like when the DVD thing hits the exact corner of the screen and it goes, like, you've been waiting for that moment forever. Well, that was Kami's moment. Bounces off the exact corner right into the center.
Exactly where he needed it.
I don't think it's the same shape as the screen though. Maybe. It's the same ratio. Yeah, I'm sure you can find one, although Spidos, oh wow, he almost made that play, but Renegades were there in time.
Yeah, he was playing that slow enough for Renegades to put up a pretty decent defense.
Okay, so things have turned up just a little bit, pushing Spidos around, but he is there to keep it out. For now, it goes over his head, and unfortunately, Renegades won't find that one in. They're back on the defense, maybe.
I think even though that goal was a little bit fortuitous for Kami, it is so important for the morale of Renegades going into that 3-1. Even though not great, looks a whole lot better than 3-0.
Sure, but analytically, it's they haven't got a standard goal this game yet, right? That one's a bit weird. It's a bit of a one-off, and yeah, it's 1 point on the board, but we're still looking to see a standard goal from Renegades, where they just set it up and send it in, not relying on kickoff.
I take a win asterisk over a loss any day.
Oh yeah, I mean absolutely, but you know, it's more of a prediction.
Whoa, great defense there from Torsos.
Yeah, but it hasn't finished up just yet. Or maybe it has. If they can get a good clear here, it's going to be all about this 50-50, and it is won by Cringe Society. They send it right by, maybe even looking for a strike of their own, but they sent midfield by Kami. Not the best of clears, and Torsos, he can send this one out right in front of the net. They have to clear it away, and they do.
Kami there, as per usual. CJ shooting it with a long ball, and he gets it in.
And Spidos looking to take a weird path back. I mean, if we take a look at it on the replay again, I mean, CJ just takes it, sees an open net. Spidos tries to get there in time. I think even if he took the straight path, the geodesic, he wouldn't have made it anyway.
CJ pulling it up for Renegades coming in 2-3 now. This is a comeback the moves are made of.
Yeah, but the goals that Renegades are scoring, it's punishing what Cringe Society are doing. However, like you said, it's the asterisk goals. They're happy to pick them up. They only need one more to get to overtime. Is this where Cringe Society maybe hunker down and play a little more defensive? We might be seeing it, but I mean, right now, they're still aggressive. They're still hungry for another goal. They're getting these good passes to the midfield, but Renegades are already in position to just send it back like that.
I don't know if defensive is in the Renegades dictionary. They seem to just only have one mode, which is go.
Oh, so aggressive. They've got all three players pushing the ball in there, but 1 minute and 15 seconds to find one more goal here for the Renegades and Cringe Society. Actually, that's an awkward clear, but they quickly correct that mistake and send it over to Renegades' side. They keep it out for a little longer.
And now it gives, no, Renegade's going to keep that up. Torso's trying to get an attack going. 1 minute remaining. Sicky going in for a short overcross. No one's there to pick it up.
And this is the minute that matters. Can Renegades find one more here to bring it to overtime, or will Cringe Society move to match point? They're fighting for the ball very aggressively here. Both sides actually still kept out of the net. We're looking for someone in center field from Renegades to send this one in. But they have not got a standard goal so far in this game yet. This would be their first one if they find it in. Sicky sends it up. Still just goes to the corner though. This is good for Renegades. They keep it in Cringe Society's half, but it's finished. Back to their half.
And I think it's critically important here for both teams to stay aggressive. The second that they try and play defensive and move away from their core style, they're going to end up just trying to defend against, you know, the Goliath of the other team.
Yeah, but then you might end up with a Havoc moment where you have no one in net at the end. So you have to play careful all the way to the very last second there, Arkadian.
You can defend, but you don't just have to play only defense.
No. I'm only gonna read what you said one way.
The greatest defense is a fantastic offense, which both these teams are proving.
Well, Renegades need an offense. They need an offense right now. It doesn't matter about defense, and it's 0 seconds, and they can't find it. They can't get it done. Cringe Society move on to match point against the Renegades. Now that one was a lot closer, but that said, I feel like it was only close in points, which sounds ridiculous to say.
It was a closer asterisk match.
Yeah.
The first minute from Cringe Society was just phenomenal. They're having 3 set plays pulling out, a 3-0 lead coming through. I mean, it was just, that was one of the glimpses that we see where that is why Cringe Society can be so dangerous.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of people were expecting them to look like as a super team. They're coming in and, you know, everyone knows, like, okay, these guys haven't played together yet. Maybe they need a bit of practice to go. I think that's what they look like when they get a bit of practice.
Yeah.
That's what they look like when they can set plays up for each other and kind of walk all over the Renegades, to be honest.
And when you say walk all over the Renegades...
Yeah, that's a statement.
That's when you know it's really scary. But can they keep it up? And I think they have moments of that brilliance. It hasn't been persistent throughout the entire game so far. But overall, they're up 2-0.
Well, now the question is, do Renegades have it in them to bring out the reverse sweep? We've seen it before by them in previous years. I'm not sure if we've seen it with this roster, but maybe they can get it done. But I mean, after game 1, I'm not so sure. After game 2, again the points were close, but I'd say I'm even less sure.
Yeah,
that's a strong-looking Cringe Society.
It is very strong-looking, and like I said, with these star players and a lot of egos are on the line, as soon as there is a drop of blood in the water, it can get very dangerous very quickly.
Now, Renegades will not let a situation like this get them down. They're a mentally strong team. They can hold on to the fact that they've got a reverse sweep, although, I mean, mental strength only carries you so far after something like that.
With the set play again, Torso's coming through, singing it up, putting it in the air, taking out CJ, letting Drippe punch it through right into the center of the goal.
Oh, I mean, Drippe there to clean it up, but Torsos through the air holding on to it. Not only that, but holding it out of the hands of Renegades too. Oh man, just again, it's every goal is looking so beautiful by Cringe Society.
And that's why individual superstar players like this can be so dangerous, because if you can have one player have so much effect on the game,
imagine 3.
Imagine 3. You've got the other 2 superstars open to do those kinds of amazing plays. Instantly out of the gate here, 0-1 to Cringe Society.
Yeah, it's feeling like they have been unlocked for now, but a good start to their match point game. But Renegades still have 4.5 minutes to get it done to start their miracle comeback.
So with a nice collect, clear it out, but it will be picked up. Not even picked up, just straight up cleared right the way back.
So someone up in the sky just sent it back and was like, nah, this one's not even making it here. Sorry, mate. And so we're back to the Renegades nets. Frenzy, he wants to take that one and maybe a little too slow. And so all the defenders are here in time, but Cringe Society have not let up. They're still sitting here ahead of the halfway mark. So Renegades have to fight this one with 50-50s. You can see Torsos waiting for a shot, but it does eventually run out and they have to go back to defend and they're there in time.
And we talked about at the beginning of the matchup, Renegades being the team who's distinctively aggressive, who will sit in your half for 80% of the match. But I think they're getting a little bit of their own medicine in this one, Cringe Society.
CJ going for a bit of a ride there off the explosion of one of his teammates, but there we go. He's still alive, is the important point here. Now we're back in front of the Renegades nets, and it's all up to Cringe Society to steal it away. Drippy's still waiting to see if his team can hold on to it, so now he's going to be the one to send it, pass it to midfield if he can hold on. And it does too, but Sicky is still there to steal it away.
And Torsos picking it up, Spydoge passing it all the way forward. Good defense there by Sicky, putting it back onto the hands of Cringe Society.
I mean, it's a good clear, but there's no one from his team to pick it up, so it does go back to Renegades, to Cringe Society, and now we're back to this situation again. Oh wow, that's a good 50-50 as well. Keeps it in the Renegades half, and now it's in front of their net. It's an awkward clear to CJ, although Torsos does get demoed, which gives Renegades some very much needed breathing.
Absolutely, those critical moments end up being very important on the pressure. I think just a little bit of breathing room is going to help Renegades out a little bit here. 2 minutes 30 approaching, halfway through the match, still 1-0 for Cringe Society.
A real good pass to Kami up there by Sicky. Gives them an all right shot at the goal, but it is setting up the attack now for the Renegades. They're looking to get that rotation going. It's quickly stopped by Drippy with a good clear.
Kami will try and pick it up, get it away from Spydoge.
Kami just mirrors it, except the difference is it's sent back by Cringe Society.
CJ picking it up. Sicky's going to try and get it forward. Kami coming across. CJ with a good touch.
You can see they're clearing it off to the side a little bit, just to go in and scoop it up later to see if they've got no defenders in the way, but haven't found it just yet. But you can see the idea for Renegades rotation. I want to see it in action to see if it can actually work. So Sicky needs to get it past several defenders, won't be able to do it, and now we're back to Cringe Society looking to get an attack rolling. CJ off the board, but with his teams looking to shoot, they shouldn't be worrying too much.
Couldn't quite get his nose to a Sicky as the ball flies right past. And I feel like this little bit of breathing room is letting Renegades kind of put their rotations together and put together an attack.
I mean, they're getting a lot more attacks than they were in the previous games, but they're still not finalized. They're still not getting that point on the board, which, I mean, they have done in previous games over the heads of Torsos. And he was looking for that redirect, but fortunately a little to the side. So Renegades get to hold it out, but oh so close to a very crushing goal that would have been.
And Sicky just passing it back to Cringe Society to set up another attack. But this time coming through with a little bit more purpose. Drippy clears it.
Arkadian, we are 1 minute away from potentially Cringe Society taking out the Renegades 3-0. They've just got to keep out the exact same play they've been doing for the last almost 20 minutes, and so now 1 minute to go. And so Renegades, they've got to find one on the board. They're fighting for their life here.
1 minute away from 3-0 Renegades. Who would have thought that would be what we'd be saying starting off this match?
We promised a hype match. We promised a close one, Ark. We've got to deliver.
We did.
Renegades have got to deliver.
It still has potential. Renegades are not going to give up, like you said. They've got the mental fortitude, they've got the experience, they know what it takes to play. They just need one goal to push into overtime.
Well, this may be their final opportunity. Cringe Society have been pushing forward all the game, but Renegades have found some opportunities to get their rotations going. It's got to start now, though. They've got one more chance. 20 seconds to go. If they can steal it away now, they might get that chance. Every 50-50 by Cringe Society, like this one here, buys them so much time.
And that's all they need. They don't need to push for that goal, although I believe they will. But they don't need to. They can just hold it for 7 seconds. This might be it.
It's up in the sky. Cringe Society will send it to the ground if they can, but Renegades, their hopes and dreams are on that ball. But the ground eats it up. Cringe Society with a 3-0 against the Renegades here, cementing themselves as the favored team here. Now they've got to put themselves to the test against some other teams higher up on the leaderboard, but with the Renegades out of the way, possibly one of their biggest question marks, they're happy to get that one done and dusted.
Absolutely. I think there was a fantastic display of Cringe Society and exactly what we can expect to see from them when they do gel as a team. I'm still really excited about that minute three, those 3 goals that happened in match 2. I think it really displayed, Drippy's ability to perform as an individual and a superstar on that team. Personally, I was a huge favorite. I was a huge fan of Drippy's.
Yeah, Drippy, I mean, he had some great moments as well. Shout out to Torsos for me for setting up a lot of those plays. So again, it's another one of those games where I wish I could just give it to the whole team, but Drippy, for me again as well, he's the MVP for me too, simply because he just got to stand out a lot more in a lot of those shots. But there it is, Drippe going to take out that MVP.
Yeah, and I think that's really well earned. Like it's hard to pick just one person on a team when they're performing like that. You know, Torsos does deserve an honourable mention coming into that one with a lot of his setups. But yeah, like I said, I think Drippe just inches it out.
Just inches it out. Drippe, so he will pick up that MVP there in that matchup. But there it is, 3-0, Cringe Society against the Renegades. What a result for them. They're going to be stoked with that one. Renegades, though, are now out of the top 4. They have to now fight for their playoff spot throughout the remaining weeks. But, of course, we do have 2 more matches to go for you guys. So make sure you stick around for this break because this is Arkadian's favourite match. It's Mindfreak versus Fury. 2 matches down and 2 to go. We've had some bangers so far today in the LPL Pro Rocket League ANZ Championship, but we still have 2 more bangers left to go, Arkadian. But first up, let's recap on what just happened. We just saw Cringe Society get their 3-0 against the Renegades, the defending champions from last year. So if that question was on your mind, well, it's now answered.
Yeah, it was a masterclass performance. I just love to see, you know, again, going back to that 1 minute 3 goals, it was just so good. But alas, we need to put it in the past. Today's matchup, this next match is going to be my favorite hype match of today. I'm excited to see it.
Which is interesting to you, because it's Mindfreak versus Fury, right? Mindfreak, very top of the table, have not lost a series yet, have lost very few individual games as well. Fury, though, shaky performance. They're 2-2 record, but last week, they took down the Renegades 3-1. So
exactly, but last week last week they showed this brilliance, this as if they gelled and they had that performance. I feel like there is just so much potential here in Fury that if they are able to click, then they will fire. And I'd love to see how they challenge Mindfreak. Obviously, you know, statistically, you've got a little bit of a not necessarily a one-sided matchup, but Mindfreak have been playing out of their minds. But I love the underdog story.
I know, man. I know you're a Warriors fan too, so it's not too surprising.
I'm an underdog supporter.
Let's take a look at Mindfreak's roster. It's Ghost, Requiem, and Fever. Ghost is a player that often stands out, so I want to talk about the other 2, Requiem and Fever.
Now, Fever's obviously a very solid rookie coming into this, and Requiem being the veteran that he is, I think if you get Ghost and Requiem performing together and they really link up, they have that picture-perfect play style that you look for.
Yeah, so we'll see if they can do it. Their opponents, though, it is Team Fury. These guys, they've been trying to play up their title as Kingslayers here. They might be trying to do it again here. Amphis, Kenny Salmon, and Scarf. Now, we usually talk about Amphis, and I want to talk about him again because he's one of my favorite players, right? I mean, last week we did talk about Kenny Salmon and Scarf, though, so like they have had their turn. But Amphis, when he shows up, his team wins.
Yeah, I think we talk about all of the rookies having solid performances, but Amphis is playing like a seasoned professional with, you know, confidence, the ability to strike on the ball, do those big plays. It's just, you know, he can compete with all these veteran players, and even with sometimes Kenny and Scarf having that inconsistent play behind him, he still manages to perform so well.
All right, well, let's take a look at that key player matchup because Amphis is one of them. He'll be going up against Ghost from Mindfreak. Now, keep in mind, though, Mindfreak have won much more of their games than Fury, so these numbers are going to reflect that, but I mean, even take a look at it.
I know, this is exactly what I'm talking about. So 16 games to 14, so a fairly similar sample size, but looking at the shots, 2.75 to 2.79, very similar. Goals, Amphis taking out the slight edge. Saves, Amphis being slightly stronger on the defensive side, albeit that there probably were less shots against Mindfreak than Fury, to be fair. But assists and demos, you know, they're all relatively similar, considering the fact, like you mentioned, that Fury have had, you know, more losses. They've been playing from behind a lot more of the time, and Amphis can still pull out these kinds of statistics versus Ghost, who has just been destroying the field so far through Mindfreak.
I mean, we've been talking about Ghost since last year as well, so it's not like just a random pro that he's going up against here. That's Ghost, who's pretty good.
It's Ghost. That's exactly what it is. And so the fact that, you know, rookie Amphis on a losing team can pull out those kinds of statistics, that's why I'm excited to see, because last week when they did verse Renegade, when Fury did fight up against them, they managed to connect. Kenny and Scarf ended up being those players around Amphis, setting up for opportunities, and they look scary.
Last week, Kenny Salmon really did actually stand out quite a lot. So maybe we'll be looking for that again here today. And it is a big task, taking out Mindfreak for sure. I mean, but they have had big tasks before. for sure. But I mean,
they didn't have odds against Renegades.
A team that has looked consistent and at the top of the table the whole time, that's a different question, even after Renegades. So let's kick things off and almost straight in by Mindfreak, but a little bit to the right.
And we can see Ghost here getting ready. Just players getting used to the ball, a few touches back and forth.
Now again, Mindfreak. Oh wow, they're getting up the field very quickly, and just a very quick pass over to Requiem. I mean, that was so quick that even Fury didn't see it.
That was a very fast ball moving in. Both players didn't get to it.
I feel like both of those players were so close to getting there in time, and maybe they could have even made it. But yeah, I mean, regardless though, it does put the first point on the board for Mindfreak. So
that's fine.
Now Fury have to worry about the fact that they can do that from pretty much anywhere.
That is true, but I don't think it's a problem for Fury. I think they're used to playing from behind.
yeah. Well, I mean, at least in half of their series, right? They've had not so many great series, but some good ones as well. Oh, that is awkward. Someone get it, please. Push it away from the net. I think Mindfreak have started to notice what's going on, but a little too late. Didn't really expect them to just hang out in front of the net for a little while, have a little social gathering. Like, hey guys, have you met my friend the ball?
And a couple of touches. Demoed on the other side. Kenny doing a little bit of a clearance. We're trying to do a little bit of a clearance there, but just taken away from him by Fever. Another very solid performing rookie.
Yeah, Fever's actually been living up as well. So we'll see if he can continue to do so as well. But I mean, of course, it's going to be on a team that has not lost a series yet. So coming here against Fury, it's going to be Ghost looking to play against the defender, but can't get it past the goalie. He does have teammates though who can take a shot, but that's a weak shot.
Requiem. We were standing, didn't quite get the hit. He was ready in position.
Just off the head of Fury there. Ghost steals that one away. So now we get to see if Fury can get an attack going. Kenny, mate.
Kenny 7 with that was a fantastic slow play on the ball. Picked it up in the air, slowly brings it down, beats the defense, and then just nudges it in. Look at that, changes the direction just slightly.
Such control of the ball as well. I mean, and it was so quick. That was, I mean, of course the replay's in slow motion, but all of that in a split second.
That's all that needs to be said. It was in slow motion, and it looked like in real time. That was a fantastic play by Kenny Salmon to be able to get that into the goal. And great foresight to be able to just nudge it slightly above the defense, change the direction at the last second to get it in.
And it only takes a minute and a half for them to essentially do what we asked, was Kenny Salmon to show up, and he's certainly showing up today with that performance. So let's see if he can keep doing it though. It's Mindfreak, they can continue to put the pressure on here. Yeah,
while Fury might have moments of brilliance, I feel like Mindfreak are pretty consistent in their threat, and so they cannot be complacent for just a moment without having real danger of being scored against.
Yeah, so that one a little close, but it looks like Fury has cleaned it up, although actually Ghost has something to say. He takes a shot, and now with that, we're back to Mindfreak, just continuing their rotation. Takes a shot at the net. Of course, the defender's in the way, but do they have anyone else? Pushing around the attackers of all people now. Fury looking to send it up. Do they have an open net? They might, but Fever did rush back there in time. It was a little too high anyway, and so
nice set play there from Fury after Scarf getting it across to Fury with Anthus.
Yeah, and they even steal it away, and that net is open, but they shut it down as soon as they see what's going on. And so now it's all the way back over to Fury's net. So close there by Fury.
Requiem picking up the ball, slowing down the play a little bit if he can. Missed on the clearance there, but no worries. Ghost is back there to pick it up, clear it back onto their side.
Really liking Ghost's car this week, by the way. A nice color combination of like a bright blue or like a kind of bright teal, and then the kind of purple, but it melds really well. That's how it goes. Like, there's his car there. Take a look at it. It's so nice. It's so shiny.
Yeah, like I said earlier, I think Rocket League is one of the most aesthetically pleasing
I've got, oh, hang on. We may have to talk about aesthetics a little bit later.
What?
I don't know. There's a game going on, but taking a shot. There it is. And then, it actually gets kept out by Scarf. And that was a close one. A lot of power into that shot. Can they continue? Or do we get some time to talk about car aesthetics?
I don't think so. There's a lot of stuff going on here. Requiem wanting to look for that goal. Fever sitting back, ready to pick it up.
Ooh, could have picked it up.
Yeah, I think he was expecting Scarf to pick that.
Yeah, maybe he played around with a little bit. This one does bounce in front of the net, though.
Scarf gets it in with the big splash.
Yeah, well, I mean, just look at the awkward clear here. It goes to the Ghost, who just bounces it off the net. I wasn't really expecting it either. And so Scarf, I mean, just easy, right? It's set up for him.
People call me crazy. But is that a 2-1 Fury I'm seeing right now?
That is. That is Fury currently in the lead against the top of the table on Mindfreak. And so with a minute to go, they've got everything they need. They just have to continue to keep all of the goals out, maybe find one more goal for Fury would essentially secure them this game. Unless Mindfreak pull out something amazing.
So Requiem and Ghost on Mindfreak do not like to be behind, and so Fever will be picking up those balls and getting them to that front line to try and score. But Fury are keeping the aggression up.
Yeah, I mean, Fury are just keeping it in front of us now. No! Requiem did not see that one coming, and Scarf sends it into the corner, essentially getting his hammer out and nailing the last nail into the coffin here for this game.
Maybe Scarf hasn't been too happy with the pre-game commentary of all mentioning Amphis.
Oh, maybe. It's all Amphis and Kenny Salmon, but what about Scarf?
What about Scarf? He's showing up today, which is exactly what we needed to see for Fury to really put Mindfreak to the test, and they are doing that thus far. Yeah,
and right back at the start of the season, I even said that Fury were one of my dark horse picks to maybe find a few upsets, not necessarily like a favorite, but always knew Amphis was going to be a great player. It just, if the rest of his team stepped up to that level, which it looks like they are.
30 seconds remaining, great save by Amphis.
They could be a real contender. Now back to this game, of course, Fury, I mean, look, they're 2 goals ahead. Mindfreak, all the pressure now on them, and it's still being sent back to their net. They're going to find these goals, and they're going to find them now.
They do, but Scarf with control on the ball in Mindfreak's half. Not an unfamiliar scenario for this game.
Yeah, this could be done and dusted. 5 seconds to go. Fury just even trying to get a 4th goal on the board. Not that they need to. Here we go. Fury take game 1 against Mindfreak.
Man, what a performance.
Do I call you crazy or do I call you psychic, Arkadian? What's going on?
Fury coming out with the first game. Look, let's not celebrate too early. It's best of 5. This is just game 1, and Mindfreak, still have, they're a threat at all times. But I'm enjoying seeing Fury click.
Oh, I mean, you're telling me not to worry. You're telling me to, still think this game is in the bag. But Fury are the team that beat the Renegades, remember. Remember, they got one of the biggest upsets ever, and they're looking to do it again here today. I mean, it's one game. Like
it is one game.
But now I'm actually worried. Before this, I was thinking, okay, yeah, the Renegades thing, maybe a bit of a fluke. Maybe Renegades not at their peak play. But here today, maybe now I'm worried.
I know, and even to ask more questions after today's performance in the previous match, Cringe Society Renegades. We saw that maybe Renegades isn't performing as well as they could be, but Fury showing up so far, because the big question was, is Kenny Salmon and Scarf going to show up? I'd say they've shown up.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say so. I mean, scoring 2 of the goals that they got in that game, basically winning it for them, that's already a great start, right? But it is 1 goal apiece. So you've got to see if they can continue to do it throughout this game, because a lot of them were just quick, snappy passes into the shot. Apart from the one that was like all the way across the field. But even then, that was a similar thing. It was just a bit longer. And so my question now is, can Fury get those rotations going? Can they start shooting a few times at the Renegades net? And then, at the Mindfreak net, and then eventually find one in. Who knows? We haven't seen that yet.
Exactly. I think that's what we're looking for. Is that match was a little bit chaotic, and that really played into Fury. Power and chaos. Once things do get a little bit more, once the game is slowed down and Mindfreak do get into the rhythm, are those rotations going to overpower Fury?
Okay, well, Mindfreak are fighting for the ball in the Fury half right now. Fury struggling to get it out, but Amphis eventually does find it, looking for a solo play here as well. Easily taken away from him by the defenders, so won't get that one done, but importantly, it is out of their side.
And Kenny Salmon keeping it on Mindfreak's half of the field.
They're still going.
Trying to give them some opportunity for score here.
Yeah, it almost looked like a shot there as well, but eventually Mindfreak did pick that one up, did clear it back. Even getting a demo onto Amphis, past the defender. There's only one more to go. All of them are gone, although Amphis has respawned to save his goal.
To have Ghost in that position is scary. He knows exactly how to put those in the back of the net.
Yeah, and so Fury gets to survive just a little bit longer there. And now you get to see what they can get done. Mindfreak back on the attack, but it's shut down pretty quickly. And so that's a shot, but it is just pushed off to the side by Fever. A pretty good clear. So Fury are going to continue to get this one going, waiting for that awkward clear, but haven't seen. This is the rotations we were asking for. Can they get it done?
Now, we're a little bit worried about, we talk about Requiem and Ghost being picture-perfect players when they get going, and here they are here.
That's a goal.
It's got to be.
Ghost punishes the massive mistake there by Fury. None of the defenders there in position. He just sends it over the head of, I'm not even sure who that was, but Fury pretty unhappy about that one. But they're punished for their aggressiveness.
I'm pretty sure Requiem took the demo there to take out one of the defense, while Ghost just walked his way through. And so, good set play.
Okay, and so a good start to the game for Mindfreak here, getting one on the board. And so the question is, can they keep it up? I mean, they got one on the board last game, it wasn't enough. Fury, though, they're looking to struggle a little more on getting these goals.
I think we were already seeing a pretty big difference from game one. The chaos is settled. I think Mindfreak is sort of getting into the groove a little bit. Oh,
Anthus! I mean...
Sorry, I spoke against Fury.
Look, okay, just watch Anthus, right? I mean, he has to get it past one defender, pretty normal. Gets it past Ghost, and that's where things get a little weird, where he thinks, okay, I can actually just take the shot. And he gets it in, evens it up, and so, I mean, Fury just shut down exactly what we were saying at that point.
I also, going back to car aesthetics, I love the fact that, I love the dark colors on, I think it's one of the cars looks like a dark horse.
I mean, every time you want to talk about car aesthetics, it's Fury just saying, look, guys, can you talk about it later? Because you've got to talk about this game. Kenny Salmon finding a goal against two defenders, nonetheless.
Anthus scored, and Kenny was like, no, 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 I am the star of today.
And
Gets his own goal.
Now it's going to be Scarf scoring against 3 defenders. And then Anthus scores against 4 defenders.
Which is a great competition to be in when you're versing Mindfreak.
Yeah, Mindfreak.
Oceanic Pro.
I mean, we could maybe be saying this if they're playing like Overt or something, but Fury really truly showing why they're the king-slaying team. Oh, wow, almost into the top of the net there, but they trust the crossbar and keep it out. Oh no, Anthus. Ooh. Oh, you have to be sweating when Anthus is rushing up to your net like that.
Didn't quite get the angle he was looking for. But I like the way that Scarf and Kenny are creating this pressure on the enemy team. They're creating that chaos across the map, and that is really being effective so far for Fury.
Oh no, okay, almost. Didn't expect this, so doesn't go for the double touch, but he does have 2 teammates there to back him up. The rotation's not there to take another shot, so the Mindfreak should be able to hold this one out. Kenny Salmon takes one last hurrah, but it is just basically a clear.
No, not Kenny Salmon has anything to do with it about it. He shoots from one side, collects from the other.
Yeah, it's actually just a pass to himself. Right. But have they done it again? Have they done it again? Requiem sees the door wide open and sends it in.
They did get caught up in all those scoring. I think they might have, they messed up their rotation there, getting caught up trying to continue that aggression on the goal. And then Requiem, he just walks it in.
Yeah, Kenny basically baited his team in there because Scarf was like, oh, we're not defending? All right, cool, I'll come up and help. And then suddenly the ball's in their net and he's like, what's happened?
Although Kenny's happened to do a good job almost getting back there. So he shot from the left, collected on the right, and then almost off the goal back in on his side of the field.
Yeah, the real Quicksilver here. But, I mean, the important thing is, though, Mindfreak have evened things up. So there's been some pretty weird goals coming out of this game. But you know what? I'm loving it. I'm loving it for sure. Mindfreak certainly not happy about losing that first one. So fighting hard to get one more goal in here. They don't want to go to overtime. They just want to win this one flat out.
And we're down to 1:30 here, closing on the final moments of the game. But it is still 2-2. And so we need to see another goal from Fury or Mindfreak to close this one out if they want to avoid overtime.
Hey, man, maybe overtime is going to be good for us. Could be fun to watch, but Fury...
I feel like Fury would have the advantage in overtime with the chaos,
well,
personally.
Maybe we'll get to that if we're still here within a minute's time, but it's Fury in their hands right now, but oh wow, it's actually just taken right away from them by Fever. He gets it up the field, but no one there to back him up means Fury can just grab it right back. Oh man, we're going to go back and forth until one team gets a chance to shoot.
No one wants the ball in their half right now. They're just shooting it back and forth.
Just not taking any risky plays right now. I mean, fair enough for Fury, who have been punished for it twice this game. Mindfreak, though, just don't want to risk losing this one. Do not want to let it slip away from them again. They've got to defend it here. They've got 30 seconds to do so. Mindfreak, I mean, they're taking a few shots, but they're just sort of letting it go.
And Fever has been doing a fantastic job of just peppering them in the goal, and just keeping them on that side, on defense. Giving Requiem and Ghost a little bit of room to move here, but they haven't capitalized on that just yet.
Real awkward clear, but I feel like that was Fury baiting them there. But 15 seconds to go. This could be Fury's last chance to skip the overtime. Moves it towards the net, but it's cleared away. Now it's Mindfreak's last chance. 10 seconds to go. It's going to be Ghost. He doesn't look for the shot. Goes for the corner. Looks to clear it into the center. But with that, Fury had plenty of time to go and grab it. And it looks like we're going to overtime, Arkadian.
Here we go. And we've seen Fury perform so well in the chaos, and Mindfreak prefer the methodical play. We've got the undefeated Mindfreak here in overtime against Fury, trying to win their first game.
And who would have thought? Who would have thought we'd be here overtime with Fury in the lead in the series as well? And so, you said Fury might be the team to win in overtime. Let's find out if that's true.
Anthus picking up the ball.
Oh, that could be almost an open shot.
It could be just one mistake. But they're going to collect it. Ghost wasn't able to capitalize on that. Let's see if Fury can collect and create that chaos that they need to really get that ball.
And now we get the real attack rolling by Fury, but it's stolen away from them for now. Over towards the Fury net, but Amphis, our star player, is there.
Amphis v Ghost, that was a key player matchup 1v1.
Yeah, a bit hard to get it by the defender, so not exactly a fair 1v1, to be fair. But there it is, doesn't get it in.
Taking it up.
We get to stay in overtime for the time being. And oh man, Amphis still getting aggressive even after landing. Requiem just wants to clear it safely to the corner here, but it is straight into the hands of Kenny Salmon. Although, like you said before, both teams just going to clear back and forth. No one wants it in their half.
No, and Kenny's doing a great job of, continuing that aggression.
Oh, what a play, right over his head.
Fantastic mechanics there. Control the ball like that.
Man, Amphis, I mean, keeps it easily out of his half, buys a little bit of time as well for the rest of his team to get up there. Amphis already rotated back, ready to catch the ball.
Amphis demoed with fever.
Yeah, his story ended there.
And that was it. Requiem taking the ball up. Ghost getting ready to collect the clearance. What can we see here from Amphis? The rookie superstar.
You got to watch out when Amphis has the ball. I mean, he hasn't done it so much this series, but he will do some crazy, crazy solo plays through the air to just get a goal out of nowhere. So that could happen here in overtime. We've got to watch out for it. And so Fury pushing it up. 2 minutes in now. It's been a tight game, but it's already in front of Mindfreak's net again. They're looking for a good clear, but it's constantly taken away by Fury. They're stealing it, and again, Kenny Salmon comes in, takes it away. Can he get a good pass? It's over to the opposite corner.
Although this is where we saw Fury make a mistake earlier, and they overcommitted, and they ended up getting scored against. And so we see them reset here. Nice patience.
Yeah, it won't happen again, at least for this rotation. So the question is, can Mindfreak get past the halfway line and hold on to possession? Looks like they can. They're winning these 50-50s. Fever over to the corner, doesn't take the shot. Instead, looking to just continue to set it up. Fury want to steal this one away, and it looks like no one from Mindfreak were able to keep it in that half.
And we do see Fury wanting to push the ball, just get it away out of their half. Some good patience here. Ghost sitting in the back, waiting for the opportunity to strike. Playing in the midfield, ready to collect this.
Yeah, Amphis didn't quite hold on to the ball there as Ghost catches it. Now back to Fury. I feel like we've been here before. Although Ghost, a good 50-50 there, means he's going to keep it in this half, but it's very quickly back over to Fury.
I'm not sure if Ghost waiting for the mistake is going to pay dividends for him here in overtime. This is one of those moments where you might just need to make the play, and Fury have been doing so well so far with the defense.
Oh no, that actually goes right by him. I thought he was in position to hold on to that one. Just out of nowhere.
I'm just hearing the words in my head ring. Amphis can score from anywhere.
I mean, to be fair, that was set up to him by Scarf, who so far throughout this game has had just magical moments. But I mean, look at that.
Fury 2-0 versus Mindfreak in a 3-minute overtime.
Are you getting me hopeful here, Arkadian? Is it actually going to happen? Are we actually going to see Fury with the second upset in a row over the last 2 weeks? I mean, they've already taken down the Renegades.
We have two situations that can happen here. Either we're going to see the reverse sweep from Mindfreak, which would be, albeit, amazing to see, even if it's at the detriment of Fury, or we are going to see Fury give Mindfreak their first loss of the season.
Oh man, and just after beating the Renegades too. I mean, you said it perfectly. No matter what, we're getting a kick-ass series here, or at least a kick-ass result, right? All the way to Game 5, or 3-0 here. I mean, I guess there could be a 3-1. That's still exciting. But Fury
would still win. If Fury either wins or we get a reverse sweep, both are fantastic results. We thought that Renegades Cringe Society would have been the match of today. I told you, Mindfreak.
Yeah, listen to this guy. He's got some good opinions apparently. But yeah, I mean, here we are with Fury 2 games up. I mean, yeah, Mindfreak can certainly go for the reverse sweep, but the question is, can they do it here? We've talked about them being a consistent team so far. I'd say right now in this series, they're consistently just a little bit below what Fury are pulling out.
You need to be thinking about that pressure that must be on them as well. They're coming, as undefeated coming into this round. Did the questions come down to, did they show respect to Fury? Did they expect something like this? And how do they perform from behind like this?
I mean, they had to respect Fury after last one.
That's
right?
true.
You can't just look at that.
That is true.
And then say, nah, it's just Fury. Don't worry. These guys can definitely take you down, and they're already showing why they can do that. Oh wow, a demo into Ghost shuts that attack down, and so Fury get to keep that goal out again.
And with it right in front of the goal, it was pretty dangerous there.
It's still sitting there. It's still looking pretty dangerous, but eventually they do get it by. But Mindfreak are happy to send it right back. Although they do lose Ghost, so that attack is going to be pretty weak. So
already, yeah, there's been an increase in aggression from both teams trying to get it into their half. It's a fast tempo on the start of this game.
Requiem just clears it over to the corner. Couldn't really get the good angle for the double touch from above. So we're back to where we started with Fury just by the skin of their teeth keeping it out of the net. Unfortunately for Mindfreak, they don't get to hit that one in, so this one's still staying out, but they're not done yet on the attack.
No. And we said earlier that, you know, if Ghost and Requiem really link up, they become this picture-perfect play. But I haven't quite seen that link yet. And then we also were mentioning it, can Kenny Salmon and Scarce show up?
I think they have.
They have, absolutely, undisputably. Even if they were to fall a reverse sweep here, they've played phenomenally in their first 2 games.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. You can be stoked as Fury right now, but they can't let that get to them just yet. They want to clean out that 3-0. They're oh so close right now.
They're thinking game time.
Exactly. Cannot let your brain leave the game.
Just for a moment versus someone like Mindfreak that can be detrimental.
Exactly. So now Fury still... Neither team getting a goal. Yeah, a lot of demos in this game too. They want those stats.
They're all stat padding now. Yeah. Stat padding against Mindfreak.
I feel like neither team would agree to stat padding in this match.
No, I feel like it would be a fairly good one for Fury.
I mean, let's also talk about the implications on the leaderboard. This would put Fury into the top 4 along with Cringe Society, leaving Renegades in the dust.
Yeah, I mean, even though that's true, I think leaderboard aside, even if they manage to win or lose, knowing that a team like Fury can take out Renegades with a 3-1 and potentially Mindfreak with a 3-0 is something that you need to respect throughout the remainder of the league play.
Yeah, well, let's see if we can get to it. Fury finally getting the first real attack going. It's actually lasted the distance here for now. Fantas especially can hold on to it, but they're just shut down now by Ghost. So Mindfreak with a pretty solid hold on the defense there. They get to start their attack. Fever coming in with a strike.
Fever coming through with the strike.
Yeah, he finds it, just puts the goalie a little off center, shoots it off to the side, makes it easy as pie. Ghost, shout out to him for setting it up as well, and then immediately going and pushing Scarf around a little bit. A beautiful little setup by Mindfreak.
And that could be what it takes for this reverse sweep. We were talking about Fever being a very good support player for the duo of Requiem and Ghost, but as of recently coming into his own, being there for those attacks, if he manages to fit into that close clearance there, if he manages to fit into that slot and he can step up for those strikes, Mindfreak become even more of a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, now just the tiniest bit of pressure now over onto Fury, who have to find their goal here. They do have 2 minutes to get it, so they're not worried too much, and they do still have another few games to go through the series, but they definitely don't want Mindfreak to find another one in. And so they've got to shut this attack down. It looks like they've done it right over the heads of Ghost. Although losing Kenny Salmon should shut that attack right down.
And looking like a close one here.
Oh, there it is. Fever takes the strike, finds the second goal for Mindfreak. This is putting them in a solid lead right now.
Yeah, that's going to put the pressure on with only 1:50 left in this game to be able to pick up 2. Well, they're going to need 3 or even 2 to push overtime for Fury's side. But in saying that, last week, Renegades 3-1, they did manage to drop 1 game without it really breaking their spirit too much.
I mean, we'll see. We'll see. Mindfreak, though, this is where their path to redemption does begin. So
it is.
Getting this 2-0 so far is feeling pretty good. And so they're still keeping it over in Fury's half for the majority of this game as well, which has also felt pretty great. Oh man, Ghost being so disruptive on the Kenny Salmon leaves only 2 defenders, but also only 2 attackers.
Fever is just so aggressive on these plays. He's being there, being a threat at all times. He's really punishing Fury for not being in that defensive position.
Yeah, finally though, we might see something coming out from Fury if they can just push it back. But every single time, especially in the halfway mark, Mindfreak are just pushing it back, winning 50-50s, and Fever backs out on that one, lets it go to the corner. Just to catch it for his team. This is the setup we were looking for by Fury, but
great shot by Kenny.
Too many defenders make that great shot, not great enough. 1 more should be all that's needed. And Kenny Salmon, it was set up beautifully for him. The whole team play by Fury gets 1 on the board.
On the 1 minute mark as well. It puts them right back in contention for this game.
And that one was almost in by Amphis as well, so it's great that they had the backup there by Kenny Salmon, but Fury, I mean, they set that attack up pretty beautifully, I'm going to say.
Absolutely.
Oh no, this is an awkward kickoff. Get it over to the side, guys. There we go, they got it, don't worry. Although it is still pretty close, but with most of Mindfreak back, you gotta say, it's all in Fury's hands now.
I cannot imagine how Fury must be feeling in there right now playing this match in the situation that they're in, but they must keep it composed and focus on getting that one more point.
Amphis, we're a bit far away, so I want to take a look at this one from a little bit of a different angle here. Scarf sends it all the way back. They know that he's already up there. I mean, it's just like what I was saying before. Every goal by Fury is done in just some kind of picture-perfect way.
What a masterclass on that point. It was a fantastic set play. Scarf just... The synergy between those players is amazing.
I mean, I had to make the call while Amphis was up in the air as well, so it was quick thinking too. It evens the score up now, and now, I mean, I can't imagine how Mindfreak are feeling in this game right now.
No, the pressure is on. This is their lifeline. They have to get this next point or an overtime. They have to win overtime to stay in the game.
They can't let Fury score, though. If Fury score in the final seconds, that could be disastrous. In fact, it would just end the series right there and then. So, Mindfreak, it's their last chance to get a goal, or we go to overtime here. Fury bouncing it up, just sending it back to the blue half, making it impossible for Mindfreak. And now Mindfreak, they've got to keep it off the ground, and I don't think they can do it. I mean, Fury want to keep it in the air, but Mindfreak, oh man, we got to overtime here. Mindfreak fighting for their life.
And the last 3-minute overtime in last game went the way of Fury, and so let's see if we can do something similar here. Requiem with an early start, pushing on the aggression.
A little too slow though, Scarf. Going to bounce it off the back wall perhaps, or actually one of the defenders has just moved forward in front of their net, but we don't have enough Fury members here to get that goal in, so they have to go back on defense. Remember, they just cannot let one slip by.
Ghost and Requiem really need to decide how they're going to attack this. Kenny Salmon coming through, almost making the demo there, but I don't think he was moving fast enough.
I mean, right by Fever as well. I mean, you kind of let it go by, but now with that, Fury have a nice forward. They're just looking for one good pass to win the series. It's bouncing around in front of the net. It's Kenny that goes in for it. He doesn't want to get punished for it, and it doesn't look like he will be. It's the rest of Fury just setting this one up, but I think Mindfreak have shut that one down.
Anthus wasn't able to get up. Good clearance from Kenny to stop that attack.
Yeah, slowing it down, giving them some breathing room. Mindfreak need all they can get right now is Fury, turning the heat right up to 11. Although no one going for that shot, but it is Scarf just sending it past, getting in a great position.
And Kenny's ready for the pickup here. Can they make any sort of set attack? Well, there was almost a really nice angle there from Kenny.
Yeah, but it is back over to Fury's net here. That is a demo onto Requiem. Is that enough to shut the attack down? Looks like it is. Kenny bumping Amphis while he should. All right, cool. Why not? Why not? In overtime of maybe one of the most important matches of your life. But Fury, still though, no real risk to that one.
Amphis coming across.
Takes a shot.
He takes it.
Amphis sends it in across the field by Kenny. It's passed to him, and he gets the winning goal. The winning goal for Fury in a 3-0 against the top of the table Mindfreak. There's only so much I can raise my voice.
There is, again, winner Fury. That says it all. Again, a fantastic set play. Kenny Salmon and Scarf on here. Amphis not making the... Amphis has left the game by the looks of it. He's not showing up on the end screen.
He's done his job. He's leaving.
He's out. This is the biggest mic drop you can get.
Exactly. Like, overtime goal to 3-0 at the top of the table. See you later, guys.
Well, I said we're either going to see Fury win or Mindfreak with the reverse sweep. They weren't able to pull it out. Every single one of those goals that came through on Fury were just picture perfect, as you put it. Man,
look, I want to give MVP to like Kenny Salmon or Scarf. I know they stepped up a lot in this series, but Amphis, man, I mean, like, some weeks you just got to give it to him, right? Or, I mean, maybe you got something else here.
I really, really enjoyed the way that Ken Salmon and Scarf stepped up. But, I mean, Amphis did do phenomenally in the end. In both overtimes, he clutched the goal, and so Amphis, I'd say for me as well, is the MVP of this.
Yeah, off the backs of Kenny Salmon and Scarf, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, some previous weeks we've had Amphis as the MVP, and he was really the only player that stood out. But this week it's different. This week he's being held even higher by his teammates.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm really glad to be contesting MVP over 3 Fury players.
Yes. when Mindfreak is sitting there like, hey guys, we exist too, but we're top of the table too, right?
3-0. I mean, I didn't see Ghost and Requiem link. Fever did put in a phenomenal performance. Personally, I think he
Shout out to Fever.
Yeah, absolutely. But at the end of the day, you know, they showed up, and Kenny Salmon and Scarf setting up Amphis for the goals, and vice versa, with all of the team members there getting in some great points. What a match! They all
got their moments, but there it is, guys. Fury. I mean, Renegades wasn't enough. So they wanted to come in here, 3-0 the top of the table, and say, we are really here to play. They're now in top 4 for playoff spots, so they've only got 2 weeks to continue to hold their spot there, guys. But we've got one more game to go. It's Overt versus Ground Zero, and make sure you stick around for this one. It's right after the break. And we return to you lovely, lovely viewers with one more game to go. It's Overt versus Ground Zero here in the LPL Pro, a Rocket League Oceanic Championship. And of course, brought to you by Barocca. Now, Ark, let's touch on what we just saw, because spoiler alert, pretty nuts result.
I'm smiling. I'm real happy. So
You're stoked.
Fury just came out of the, they activated their Dark Horse buff and they just knocked down a Mindfreak with a 3-0.
Yeah, 3-0, guys. You're hearing that right. Mindfreak, who were at the top of the table, undefeated, dropping to Fury, who, Renegades not enough. No, they got to take down Mindfreak as well, so they move further up the leaderboard. We'll catch that after the 4th game, of course. But speaking of the 4th game, Ark, let's move on to that. Overt versus Ground Zero. Now, on paper, this looks like a Ground Zero 3-0, but after last series, I don't know if we can rely on paper.
It does. Look, Overt on paper should be somewhere in the middle of the pack, but I think that they've struggled so far with Deca. In saying that, they had a pretty definitive win over Cringe 3-0, but I mean, how much can you chalk that up to being Cringe having a bad day? And so it's going to be pretty interesting. Ground Zero, they did lose Requiem to Mindfreak and they traded for Express, but I think they've still been performing, really well. Express is sort of a very solid player on that. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting, but honestly, I think Ground Zero have the advantage here.
All right, well, let's take a look at those lineups. First up, it is Overt. So talking about these guys, it's Noisy, Zen, and Misty. Now, I think Zen probably going to be one of the bigger players to talk about. I mean, has he really lived up to what we're hoping for him?
Yeah, I mean, look, a veteran player. He hasn't really got back to form since Season 7 after his break, and so I think he has the leadership and the experience to be able to really pull the team together, but has yet to do so far. Misty's been phenomenal on the lineup. And Noisy, Noisy's been awfully quiet, considering the name. And so I think he really needs to show up again. He hasn't really shown a lot, but if he can, maybe they can pull together. But not looking good for them. They're going to have a hard match today against Ground Zero.
Yeah, still an uphill battle for them for sure. So let's take a look at their opponents. Ground Zero, also right up there. Now technically at the top of the leaderboard as well, tied with Mindfreak after that loss. So it's Jules, Deca, and Express here. So like you mentioned before, Express being the main change from last season, and I think he's fit in pretty well.
Yeah, and I think he has. Jules and Deca obviously being fantastic players as well. Jules currently holding the Golden Striker accolade with a 1.13 goals per game, but Deca hasn't really been hitting his shots. He's been whiffing a lot of opportunities, a lot of double commits, and so again, are we going to see him come through with this? I think in this particular matchup, this is the opportunity for them to really boost their confidence and decide, this is me, this is how I hit my shots. We're a force to be reckoned with.
All right, well, I mean, speaking of numbers, let's take a look at the key player matchup. It is Misty versus Deca here. Of course, with Overt taking the majority of their matches being losses, take these numbers with that in mind.
Yes, and so Ground Zero coming in on Deca, 16 matches on Misty to 15 for Deca, 3.73 shots versus Misty's 2.75, many more shots on goal.
Yeah, that's a lot more shots.
But that's considering, if you're winning, you have more shots on goals. Again, what they can connect though, Misty coming in 2.75 shots to only 0.4 goals, whereas Deca's coming in with a 1 goal for every approximately, almost 4 shots. Saves, Misty's been a little bit more strong on the defense. Again, if you've got more pressure coming in, you're going to be saving more balls. Assists from Deca higher, and demos, Deca playing a much more aggressive game, 0.7 demos versus 0.5 on Misty.
Yeah, so, I mean, a lot of that we can put down to the fact that Ground Zero have been winning, Overt have been losing, so stats are naturally going to be a little lower there for Misty, but I mean, I got to say, for Deca, though, he's looking pretty strong. I mean, he's putting out a lot of shots.
Yeah.
He's up there trying to contend for the Golden Striker as well. Just has to nail them, get them in there. But that said, I mean, he still has Jules that's getting them in.
Exactly, and I think that that's the main difference here. Even if you were to compare someone like Ground Zero to Mindfreak, is that, Deca just needs to put 3.7 shots on goal per game, or, it's huge. And so the fact that he's not able to connect with all of those, if he can, it puts him to that elite league, that S tier of goal shooter. And so we'll see how it transpires this game.
Yeah, now flipping over to Overt, this is a pretty big battle for them. They have done it before, like you mentioned, when they took down Cringe Society. But let's see if they can do it again here as we kick things off right now. And already, it's a good-looking kickoff if you're Overt.
And we've got Noisy getting back onto his side to pick up the defense, but he couldn't get there.
I mean, Decker, we told him he's going to nail some of these shots, and it looks like he's going to be able to do exactly that.
Is he listening? I'm sorry, Decker. I didn't mean any offense.
Yeah, he's listening. He's like, oh, just get my shots in?
Oh, is that
right.
the secret?
Well, I mean, doing it in 9 seconds is a little bit of a different story there. So a great kickoff by Ground Zero, already the favorites to win here. Oh, wow, just zooming right through everyone. Doesn't quite get it in, though, but Jules sets it up perfectly for the rest of his team. Decker puts it to center, although not with the shot to get it in. That said, still a really nice-looking setup by Ground Zero.
Yes, and we're seeing over here scrambling on the defense, a super aggressive Ground Zero start. Jules coming through with the second score for Ground Zero, 30 seconds into the match.
This is like all the beautiful goals from Fury that I was praising so much, but it's now happened twice within 30 seconds. Ground Zero getting some real good goals.
Kickoff again here. You never really want to be seeing 2-3 kickoffs in the first 30 seconds if you're on the losing team.
Yeah, I feel like Ground Zero are going to be fine with how it's going, for sure. Let's see how they play on the defense, though, because Overt now have their chance to try and find a chink in the armor, find a way to get a goal. They're going to be taking that shot, looking for the double touch. Goes just into the defender, though. Second shot is followed up, though, and Misty finds it in.
And that's exactly what they needed to pull one of these points in. Misty being the shining star of Overt, really pulling through when needed. Great setup there, right in the middle of the goal. Express probably should have got that.
Yeah, I mean, they still had a third player in the wings to go in and take another shot, but that said, Overt finding a very important goal, and it shows they can do essentially just a standard rotation and get the goal into the net. Oh no, Decker, how did you find that one?
That looked pretty open.
Well, yes, that's how he got it in, but how did he find himself in this position? Set up by Jules.
Missing the clearance on Noisy as well. Unfortunate there for Overt. But, you know, you got to love a high-scoring game.
I mean, yeah, if you're Ground Zero or a fan of them, sure.
As a fan, as a spectator, 3-1, 4 goals in 1 minute. Keep it up.
Yeah, well,
I want to see more. I want to get 10-8.
Oh man, 10-8
would be a great final score.
I don't think there's ever been a game like that. That is a very high-scoring game, but we'll see if one team can get to 10 points. How about that?
All right. I'll reduce my expectations.
Oh, Jules. All right. It's passed to him from, you know, basically the other side of the planet. And look at that. I mean, just about as far as it can go.
Ground Zero showing here why they're number 2 on the table.
They're number 1 now.
Well, 4-1 for Mindfreak, 3-1. If they win this, they will be equal.
So, they got to win.
They have to win.
Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself here,
just a little bit.
Because it is looking like it might go that way.
You're only 3 minutes 30 ahead of yourself.
Well, plus the other two games. Two to 4 games, depending on how it goes, of course. But Overt looking to challenge my thoughts on that, but do not find those shots in. Ground Zero had plenty of time to keep that one out, and now they're going for the counterattack.
3 minutes. We're closing up on 3 minutes left in the game.
It feels like it's been way longer.
Yeah, Ground Zero are definitely proving, you know, the dominance I almost expected to see from Mindfreak.
Yeah, this is what the third series of theirs should have looked like, but oh wow, what a powerful shot.
Oh, straight up into the top right corner.
You can't drive that fast.
See you later.
Or maybe you probably can, but you still can't get there in time.
Jules coming through.
133 kilometers per hour. That's one of the more powerful shots I've seen just from the ground.
Now, you're 3 minutes you're 3 minutes left on the clock. You're Overt. You need to get 4 points to overtime. What do they need to do? Other than win.
I mean, first up, you see this thing where Ground Zero are doing where they put the ball in the net? You got to stop them doing that. Yeah. So, I mean, that's a very simple way of putting it, of course, but...
so the same way that we told Decker to hit his shots.
Yes.
I see. Overt needs to do the same thing.
No, I mean, but in a more less simplified way. Right now, basically, they've just got to interrupt them when they're doing all these passes around the net, like what Ground Zero are doing pretty much any time. Overt find the ball over in Ground Zero's half, which isn't often. But here is where they should be stealing it away. And Overt are doing it fine here. They just got to keep it up.
And Noisy picking it up and clearing it onto the other side. Zen collecting it up, setting up Misty for a fantastic. That was a clean score.
Yeah, and that's another thing that Overt are good at. right? They can get these good setups, get great passes through mid-air as well. Straight over to Misty, who's in mid-air. He wins the 50-50, gets an easy goal by a defender.
Just how clinical.
Unfortunately, it's only the second goal.
Just how clinical that was. Decker almost stopped the strike, and Express almost stopped the goal. They were just millimeters off.
Yeah, and with that though, I mean, they get closer, but 5 goals is still very far away.
Yes. So we can see how difficult it was from our last match. It could be just to get 1 point. 3 points away is a scary mountain to climb.
Yeah, and that's not even considering Ground Zero just picking up another goal in the 2 minutes that are left. There's still 2 minutes to go. And so with that, Jules, oh man, he wanted to steal that one, but will not grab it. It gets back to their half. So they're going to have to look for a clear or at least stop the defenders here, and they do it. Express actually going to hold onto the ball in the air. Do they go and steal it here? They get it clear into the net.
Collected. Zen's collected it, moves it across. Chase down here. Noisy going back for the defense.
Oh, no, Noisy!
Oh.
Oh man, luckily it sounded like they had some comms going on saying, no, I got it, don't worry. Just looks a little bit dangerous for us. But
that's true. Yeah, Zen good pick up there.
Yeah, Zen was already halfway to the ball by the time we started freaking out. But here we go. Ground Zero is still miles ahead. The pressure is massively on Overt right now. And especially with the shot going in, Decker makes it all but impossible for Overt to come back.
6-2 with 1 minute to go. The mountain seems to be getting larger as they climb it. Ground Zero really putting the foot down.
Yeah, and again, team play by Ground Zero, using the people not striking to push around the defenders, even mid-air, to make it that much easier. But 6 goals, oh man, like you said, that's 4-goal lead, just so impossible to take out within a minute.
Yeah, it seems like this one's all but done with 1 minute remaining. Although, the never die attitude coming out from Overt, they want to try and collect some of that points back.
Oh yeah, you definitely want to come in and, even if it's not points, get some feel-good goals onto the field here. But I mean, that's the opposite if you're Overt. Express finding that one from pretty far away too.
Yeah, this is becoming an absolute shutout. 2-7, Ground Zero picking apart the defense there. But, you know, credit where credit is due. They're doing a phenomenal job really setting up those plays and striking on the ball.
No, I mean, Ground Zero just getting in here, doing their thing. It's business as usual. Eventually, though, we do find ourselves in front of their net. Is at the moment no one from Overt there to strike it in. It's just cleared away. They missed an opportunity. All right, so back in front of Overt's net, back in their field. They get a decent clear. It goes towards the net, but everyone from Ground Zero is there. They can just catch it, send it by. They know they've got 30 seconds to go. They know that they're 5 goals ahead. There's just no pressure for Ground Zero.
And now, although it might not matter on the scoreboard, being the last one to score a goal when a match ends can do a lot for the morale. And so I think that's what Overt might be fighting for here, is just to get a little bit of team morale going with an extra point. But the countdown started.
Yeah, and 5 seconds, one goal a second. I'm not even sure if that's actually possible.
The match is done.
Yeah, the match is over.
But the team morale was an opportunity there. Ball hits the ground. Winner for match 1, Ground Zero.
Yeah, and a very predicted fashion as well. I mean, we knew they were going to do it pretty one-sidedly, although 7-2, it's a little more one-sided than I would have thought. But I mean, Overt, they've got a few more games to come back, but yeah, it's not looking hopeful for them.
No, that was a pretty rough match coming in. And I mean, even if it was Overt's coming through, they're in a similar situation that we had at the beginning of the day with Havoc coming in, where they were 1-3. This is a very important game for them to pull up to try and get into that top 4 dreams that will create a pathway to top 4.
Yep.
Unfortunately, I think this might be, you know, shutting them down. And then coming across with Ground Zero, they won the league play last season before running into playoffs. They had a bad playoffs run.
They had a great first half.
Yeah.
In fact, they were in Mindfreak's position. Literally, they didn't lose a game until week 5.
Yep.
Which was when Mindfreak left.
And unfortunately, they didn't make it through playoffs, but they're really showing up this time. I think that this is them definitively saying we're number 1. Bring on Fury.
Yeah, or maybe even bring on Mindfreak. Who knows?
Yeah.
But basically, they're sitting here in the series against Overt. Like I said, it's business as usual for them. This is a match that, power ranked, they should win. It's one of the ones that they should win. So as long as they don't drop it, it's again just business as usual. They're happy to take it out. It's more on like if they do lose. It just sucks.
Yeah, and it makes a massive difference for them because that puts them middle of the pack if they drop this point.
Yeah, and if they can win this game, then I believe that would all but secure their position in the playoffs here. Although they do still have 2 more individual games to win here in this series against Overt. They've been looking strong, especially off the kickoffs. Almost again getting a kickoff goal, but Overt this time holding it out.
And I think that's actually quite important. Even though last game was a massive shutout, a lot of that early points came in the first minute of the game. And so if Overt were able to clean up that this first minute that we're watching right now, then it could have been a more contested game until it really ran away from them at the end. And so Overt, I'd call them pretty far out, but not all the way up just yet.
Yep, all about resetting that mentality between the matches, but I mean, they're taking a few shots here at the ground zero net, not finding anything in. And now with ground zero rushing back, they do have to find themselves back in time to defend. But where are you going, mate?
That was that's rough. We've seen Noisy. I think was Noisy missing the timing there, wasn't able to get there.
Maybe he saw. I'm not sure who it was from ground zero. I think Jules, but coming in to bump him over. Maybe he just wanted to stay a little bit out of position, caused him to stay away from the ball too much, lets it roll in. Ground zero picking up the first goal. Yeah,
unfortunate for him not having a great game so far, but it is about that mental reset, and you can see this is I'd say this is the effect of tilt. For me, if I was Noisy's shoes and I just missed that first goal and then watch it right here, Zen doesn't quite pick it up and it goes straight between him and Noisy, I'd be feeling the pressure here for those goals.
I mean, I just felt like Noisy was in that really tough position of like, do I double commit for it and look like a fool, or do I not go for it and look like a fool if it goes in? And so unfortunately for him, he was in just
an impossible decision.
Yeah, an impossible decision. Unfortunately for him, though, it results in the second goal for ground zero right now. And man, what an awkward position for Overt to be in.
Yeah, again, first minute of the game, 2 points down. Similar recipe to last game. How are Overt going to be performing differently this game to try and turn it around? Can they at least increase their scoreline?
Yeah, well, they've got to start doing it now. I mean, Noisy looking to avenge some of his mistakes, but doesn't get the solo play. Doesn't find any teammates either to send it in for him. So now we're back over. Actually still on the attack as Overt do manage to keep it in here, but this clear should buy a lot of time, maybe even set up the attack here for ground zero. Take a shot, goes off the crossbar, but they take a second shot. Set up for Express, gets that goal in.
Yeah, that was a great follow-up. Decker on the crossbar shot just here, not quite in, and then Express ready to clean up.
I want to talk about how smart that play was as well, because he shoots it just slow enough that it might go in, but just high enough that it's actually going where he wants it to go, which is bounce it off to his teammate. And it forces the defender to go up and like fly up just in case it goes too low.
Yeah, that was it.
Decker, big brain. Oh no, Decker!
Decker, big brain! Scores again. He wants his own point now after giving Express one.
Yeah, big brain and even bigger shots. Man, just
rockets that right in.
Yeah, sends it in with a lot of power as well off the back of the pass. So, man, Decker standing out so much to me this series.
Looking very scary, ground zero here as a team. If I was the other teams, I'd be watching this match closely. Not looking forward to having to verse these guys in the coming weeks.
Man, and ground zero just winning so many of these 50-50s. Eventually, though, Overt win one. It was, of course, the goal that you kind of expected to win that one, but man, it's rough to see for Overt. Look at this. I mean, Decker's in great position to go and steal the ball and sets it up almost center field as well, but they don't go for it just yet. As Overt catch it.
And the good control, Jules picking it up, taking it back around. Overt scrambling on, trying to get it out of their half.
Eventually they do.
Zen manages to clear.
Eventually they get it over there, and it's even near the net, so they might be able to start setting up a play. They've had some good ones in game number one, so maybe they can find something again. But ground zero, oh man, they're not even going to let them get a single goal here at this point.
No, the defense is really impressive here from ground zero. They don't have many attack opportunities, but when Overt do, it seems to be getting shut down straight away.
And it's mostly off the back of the 50-50s as well. They go in, rip it out of their hands before they can even pass to make a shot, leaving Overt in the position where they have to make solo plays. And you cannot do that against ground zero if you're Overt.
And I'm loving Decker's attack here. He's just got so much control over the ball, beating 1-2 defenders, either striking for the goal himself or setting it up for Express.
Wow, ground zero though. 4-goal lead. I mean, you've got to say it's feeling like another win for them as the clock gets closer and closer to zero. But again, they're still looking for more goals. I would expect another one to go in.
Jules and Decker are fighting here for that golden striker.
Yeah, definitely want to get it. I reckon Decker can. With the amount of goals that he's got this game, I think he's going to be real close to contention, as I do not want to do any maths in the middle of casting. We all know how that goes.
And we can see Jules here competing for the ball. We're probably due to see a Jules attack fairly shortly.
Due to see a little ground zero attack going on.
Yeah.
But instead it's Noisy Instead, it's Overt, who find their goal here in what's almost the final minute, making it doable, with a big question mark.
Honestly, commendable for Noisy, you know, being in that rough situation of those first couple of goals, missing them and slide through. Putting a goal in the back has got to feel good.
Yeah, and you know, shout out to him to still be able to do that. A lot of players would crumble after even just a few mistakes like he made. So good for him to come back and avenge himself here, but it's going to be a shot from Jules, almost into the corner there. Does not go in though. It is kept out, and it's even perhaps cleared, but Express, oh, he doesn't get the 50-50. It's over to Decker, but it's just caught by Jules. So Overt could be looking to get a second goal here if they can steal it away, but I think they're just too defensive at this point.
See, cutting across, Decker trying to set up some sort of attack there, wasn't able to do it. Good clearance by Overt.
Oh, Zen doesn't go for the double touch, it's pushed away, so he can't go for it. Now it's ground zero.
Decker just styled on Noisy.
Yeah, I want to watch this from a bit of a closer angle here. I mean, you can see him catch it. He's like, yep, standard stuff, but he just barrel rolls through not one, but two defenders.
And knocks it down just in time to put it in the goal. Such a strong player. Great control on the ball there. 5-2-1 to ground zero with 30 seconds remaining.
Yeah, Decker and ground zero are just making this a complete wash. Overt are just struggling to get any points on the board right now. They've got one. Can they even get a second one here? Or are we going to see a sixth coming out from ground zero? They're certainly setting up for it. Overt are fighting for their lives. They do not want to let a sixth goal roll in. They want to find their second goal here with the final 10 seconds to go.
Now we know that they're trying so hard because when Overt do get a set attack going, they can do some pretty clean plays. And so Misty's trying very hard to get that going, but there's just so much pressure from ground zero. I'm not sure if they're going to get that opportunity. Oh,
Misty following rule zero, keeping the ball in the air, even though his team certainly has already lost. But there's a sixth goal. Decker finding it, and of course it's Decker.
Right as the clock hits the zero as well.
Look at that. It's easily sending it in, and there it is, 6-1 for ground zero here in game two. It's getting smaller. Maybe we see 5-0 in game three. I don't know.
I mean, that would be what the trend would suggest. But it's so far 3 goals to Decker, 2 to Express. Only 1 on Jules. Decker definitely trying to close in on that Golden Strike accolade. And so we've got 1 more game left in this series. If ground zero can manage to pull it away.
I mean, that is probably the tiniest if I've ever heard. Because they are looking just dominating right now. I mean, if you gave this series to someone else and said, cool, look, ground zero, they're 2-0 up, they've done these games, they were so one-sided, who do you predict to win? Of course you're going to say ground zero, right? Yeah. Of course you're going to say ground zero 3-0. Doesn't look like Overt are able to put up any contest against them whatsoever, which feels harsh, but that's what we're seeing.
I mean, we've seen, I'd say, maybe 1-2 set attacks where they've managed to get a goal across both games, where they've managed to get something nice. The rest of them have sort of been, just fortuitous positioning and things have been working well. But it's looking really hard for Overt. This is becoming an increasingly bigger mountain for them to climb.
Yeah. Well, I mean, one thing about their goals though is that at least they're standard. At least they're not like just a random boomer from across the other side of the field or maybe a kickoff goal. They're actually getting an attack going and getting past the ground zero defense and getting the ball in. So that's good.
That's true. And although this might not be their game to, refining those skills is going to help them in the rest of the ladder play. And so it's an important skill to have.
Yeah, it's saying good things for maybe the future, and maybe they can find a goal or two here in this game. But that said, all the stats, all the numbers point to ground zero winning as Noisy finds the first goal.
Yeah, forget about it. Noisy's like, excuse me, I'm going to put one straight in from the start.
And he says, so that's what the zero in ground zero means. When they have 0 points.
You've been waiting for that for a real long time.
Well, look at that. It took ages in this series.
Third game, 5 seconds in, Overt takes away the first point. I wonder how long it's going to take ground zero to say, excuse me.
Yeah. Now, because the difference was that was one of those weird goals I was talking about.
Yeah.
One of the kickoff ones where you can't rely on it. So they're going to have to take this point and run with it. But what I'm seeing right now is what we've seen in the previous few games, is it's ground zero, pushing Overt up against their net, constantly taking it out of their hands and taking shots. And of course, the cream of the crop, Decker showing off. Oh, wow, that one almost going in. But they still have a chance to make it. Double touch off the top, and it's Decker to come in and secure it.
Fantastic play there. He could have chosen the option to go in, but he ended up passing it out to Jules. Jules passes it to himself off the wall, sets it up for Decker. straight into the goal to equalize this game.
Excellent control from Jules as well to keep it exactly where Decker needed. And I mean, Decker there to clean it up, all great for him, but Jules really setting that one up after what was such a close goal before. They cleaned it up super well.
Yeah, and I think even just great decision making we saw there. You know, there was a very, I guess, realistic chance, or a chance we would have seen maybe other teams take to strike again straight away, where Decker instantly passed it out to Jules. They reset, set the goal up, and managed to capitalize on it in a very clean way. Noisy coming out to try and do something.
Oh, he's fighting against 2 Ground Zero players.
Yeah, he's going to get taken out of the defense.
I'm surprised he didn't get demoed at that point. He stays alive though, stays on the field, and actually keeps it over here in Ground Zero's half. So Overt are keeping it here for a little while. Zen will have to catch this one, keep it over there for now. But Ground Zero, suddenly they're back on the defense.
And the first minute and a half, this is a much closer matchup so far, even though from the scoreboard point of view.
Yeah, I mean, this individual match, sure.
Yeah. Which is all that matters right now. The other two are in the past.
Yeah, exactly.
We're
They
looking for the
basically don't
reverse
count.
sweep.
Yeah, I mean, to Overt, you just got to forget about those last 2 matches. You're looking for a 3-0 from this point. But you said, if you look at the scoreboard, it looks close.
Yes, it does, but only the scoreboard. I feel like what we're seeing on the field isn't quite representative of that.
Yeah, exactly. The few attacks that Overt have got done, which wasn't a kickoff goal, have been shut down pretty quickly by Ground Zero. Ground Zero have held control the Overt half for so long, and they've just constantly been making shots. Some of these are eventually going to go in. Looking for that one. It looks easy as pie for Jules, set up beautifully for him.
Yep, and looking into your crystal ball there, Smite, one of those has to go in eventually. And just as you say that, Jules coming in fast, right through the middle, knocking that into the goal to extend the Ground Zero's lead to a 2-1.
Yeah, I mean, defenders running out of boost, out of position. Eventually, you will find one in. So, Ground Zero, beautiful little setup there. Let's see if they can do it again as they once more take the lead in the series.
And Decker preparing another goal. Not quite. No, it was the angle he wanted.
He went for the BM play where it bounces back into one of the defenders and they have to bump it in. I mean, just watch. Watch and think about how bad you would feel if this is you.
Yeah, no way. And then Noisy he almost hit it with Noisy too.
I mean, it was gonna roll in anyway.
Yeah.
So I mean, it doesn't really feel like that, but of course it's Noisy who has to do it as well. I feel
poor guy.
So bad for the guy, but there it is. 3rd goal for Ground Zero, taking a strong lead after one off the chance kickoff goal by Overt.
I mean, it's been a little bit more solid for the early game. I think Overt have managed to clean up.
What a shot. All right.
A little bit, getting some of those big shots off there.
Yeah, but now we're back to these goals that are sort of coming out of, I mean, maybe not so much this one as it is just a long shot, and you always have to be ready for that one. So I feel like after that, Ground Zero are not going to let goals like that go in again. But you never know. It's now a much more realistic chance for Overt to come back.
Yeah, and at least take one game would be, for them to take one game into this would be phenomenal. But it is, again, only close reflecting on the scoreboard. I feel like both of their points have been a little bit just given to them.
Yeah. I mean, they worked for them for sure, but Jules, I feel like that was a similar goal there. Is the fact that, I mean, you can even see it started all the way back here. Jules just flies through the air and ends up just bouncing it over Misty. Cannot get there in time to get the touch.
With 2 minutes left in Game 3. Currently, Ground Zero 2 wins up. Overt looking for their first win, but with 2 minutes left and 2-4 on the scoreboard, it is not looking good.
Yeah, this is it's looking like game 1 and 2 here for Ground Zero, who took a very, very strong lead. At least it's a little closer for Overt. 2 minutes to go. They just gotta hold on a little longer so that Ground Zero don't get like 6 or 7 goals again. But or they could come back, or they could try and find a way to get 2 more goals in, win in overtime, or maybe even find 3 within a minute and a half. That's a heavy task.
Yeah, I feel like they do have to put the attack on though. Waiting and sitting in defense, just letting Ground Zero attack and set up those plays hasn't been working out for them. And so they do need to just try and put that pressure on. Although easier said than done.
Yeah, and going for the contest here, it does actually win it. So Overt gets to control the ball and even maybe start taking shots, but no, Express is going to shut that right down. As now, both teams are just going to wait until one good 50-50 secures it for their team. Although, Round 0, we're looking to maybe make that a shot, but I mean, Overt show why you don't just do that.
Decker trying to be in the air for far too long, I think.
Yeah, I think Decker has to worry about showing off maybe a little bit, but I mean, even then, I think he has the room to do so.
Yeah, this would be the moment to do it.
Noisy though, certainly avenging himself.
Yeah.
Zen setting that one up for him too. Really makes us great. I mean, winning a good 50-50 there. It's Noisy has to win another one, but after that, it's essentially an open net. And now we're just one goal apart.
3-4. Overt can come back in this last 50 seconds for sure. And it is coming down to them being able to put on the attack.
Oh, Jules went for a real weird contest there. He actually went to disrupt the defender instead of actually going for the ball. Let his teammate pick that one up. Now Ground 0, moving towards the net, and there it is. No defender can get there in time as the Meteors fall express. Goal number 5 for Ground 0.
And putting one more nail in the coffin for Overt. They're having to get 2 points now in 30 seconds, which is making the dream all that more unrealistic for them, but they will continue fighting.
Yeah, I mean, they've had some great kickoff goals before. If they're praying to any RNG goals right now, certainly wanting to see the effect of it at the moment, but one defender, can he get it done? They're just making it a little awkward. Eventually, Overt have made it back. So he only had to survive one shot, but Zen getting demoed there. 20 seconds to go is not when you want that to happen. Ground 0, all they got to do is buy time. Just keep shooting it over to Overt's net.
But Overt is trying to get the attack. Zen picking it up. Noisy trying to reset there. Can they get something together in the last 5 seconds? It's not going to matter.
Yeah, it's not going to matter indeed. As you can see, the clock ticking down. Ground 0, 2 points ahead, and Overt can't even catch up one. Ground 0 take out the series with a crispy clean 3-0.
3-0 for Ground 0. I think, you know, it's kind of what we expected. I was hoping to see a little bit more of a contest between Overt and Ground 0. But phenomenal play. We just see why these guys are so deadly on the attack.
Yeah, okay, so now talking about the players specifically, I think one player just stands out a whole lot. Is Decker.
Is it the one that got all the goals?
Is it the one that we kept shouting out his name? He didn't show up so much in game number 3. I think that was more Jules, but coming into game 1 and 2, Decker, man, oh my God, he got beautiful plays set up by his team, so we certainly can't downplay them, but the mechanical skill from the guy, the heads-up plays, just everything about him. Beautiful.
And I think that summarizes it really, really well. Decker was able to, show fantastic control over the ball, great mechanics, sending it to his team. Decker very clearly tonight the MVP for Ground 0.
Yeah, just having a great performance, and with that win as well, Ground 0 now move up officially to top of the table to tie with a Mindfreak with that 4-1 record. So, I mean, I'm real keen to see that matchup, Ground 0 versus Mindfreak. Oh, you got a bit of a look on your face there, Ark.
No, I just think that it will be an exciting match. It'll be, the Ground 0 performed very well this split. They performed very well last split, and they're going to be versing Mindfreak, who've been doing great. Those two, I'd say, arguably are the most consistent top teams. It will be a good match. Yeah,
well, guys, that is all of our matches for today, although we still have more to come. We've got our recap of the matches today, our MVP of the week, and we'll even take a quick little peek at the matches next week, so make sure you stick through that break if you want to see all of that. Well, Arkadian, it's been a quick day for sure. A lot of 3-0s, but it has been an action-packed day, and of course, a lot of real interesting matchups. But we return here with the LPL Pro ANZ Rocket League Championship. I'm Smite, that's Arkadian. So, Ark, I mean, just any final thoughts before we get into the recap of the day?
No, I just want to get into the recap. I think we had some exciting matches. Like, let's just take a look and let's go over those. It was a great day. Let's head into it. All
right, well, let's take a look at the matches we saw today, because we kicked things off with Canberra Havoc taking on Team Esper, but Esper got it done nice and quickly with a 3-0. Then we followed things up with the big match that everyone was keen for, Renegades versus Cringe Society, although we only got 3 games of it because Cringe... Yeah, Cringe Society got it done in 3 games. Fury, not to be outdone, though, they come in here after beating the Renegades. They come in and take out Mindfreak, top of the table, and also do it in a 3-0 fashion. So a massive upset for them.
Do not adjust your computer screens. That is a 0 next to Mindfreak score.
That's exactly right. And of course, going down the field a little bit more, Ground 0 finished things out with a, on paper, very clean 3-0, and in practice, it was the same. And so there we go. Let's take a look at where that leaves all the teams on the leaderboard, because it is certainly shaking things up here. First thing you notice is Ground Zero is now up there, tied with Mindfreak. And I like how, even though it's a tied, Ground Zero have got the number one spot. Then, of course, Cringe Society, with their win against Renegades, get to move up, secure a spot in the top 4, along with Fury as well, who took out their win. Now we've got Esper, Renegades, and Overt and Havoc down there at the bottom, out of the top 4. Renegades are out of the top 4. I think that's just the biggest thing we have to look at.
No, absolutely. You look at that. I mean, it's first equal, second equal, third equal, fourth equal. Running into the rundown. There's so many. It's so close right now. But to see, Cringe Society and Fury sitting in here in third and fourth, and Renegades in sixth, and even Havoc in eighth. It's just not what you would expect to see.
Yeah, I mean, just crazy, unexpected results. The ones we did expect, though, Ground Zero to do well. Even Mindfreak, who didn't do so hot in the last season, we still expect them to do well, so it's great to see them at the top of the table. Cringe Society, too, you'd probably expect to see them a little further up.
Yeah.
But that said, there's still certainly playoffs material.
Yeah, I mean, they've still had a strong showing. I think it's not unreasonable to say that Cringe Society needed a little bit of time to gel and mix. Their first 2 games, they were 2-2, now they're 3-2, and so they did take those 2 losses early in the season. Whereas Mindfreak coming in, experienced, happy with the team, to come and clean up the first half. I wouldn't be surprised to see Cringe Society really continue to shine, moving on their way through.
Yeah, and plus a lot of their players are great in playoffs situations, so we'll have to wait until we get to that, but they've got a pretty strong spot in the top 4 right now, but there are people knocking on the door. Yeah. Renegades are going to be busting that down, trying to get in.
Oh, they will be desperate. From where they are right now. I mean, they're with Team Esper to be able to get in. They have to fight. But to do that, they're going to have to beat Cringe Society. They're going to have to take down Fury, who are looking dangerous right now when they click. Ground Zero, Mindfreak. There's no one in that top 4 who is going to fall very easily.
All right, well, Ark, let's move away from the leaderboard a little bit and talk about the matches we saw today, because we got 4 MVPs, but we can only have 1 MVP of the week. So we're going to talk about, let's start with the last match we had of the day. Decker was the MVP there. Do we think it's enough for, I mean, he had a great performance. Is it enough for him to be MVP of the week, or is there someone that deserves it more?
Look, if we break down MVP, most valuable player, I think Decker was an outstanding player and he was an entertaining player to watch. But in terms of value, he did score a lot of goals, but Ground Zero, they were just so dominant that
little one-sided?
Exactly, yeah. I feel like even if you took Decker out of the equation, there was just so much there in that favor. So valuable, not too sure.
All right. So who would your pick be then?
Out of all the MVPs for today?
Yeah, give us one.
I think that in terms of,
I think it really only leaves one.
Sticking with it, I think it comes down to Amphis.
Amphis, yeah, that's right. Getting the job done on Fury, taking out Mindfreak. I mean, what a massive upset for him. And to have a massive performance too. I mean, Amphis, I talked about this guy since the start of the season, and here he is popping off once more. I mean, taking down Cringe Society, Mindfreak, top of the table, is already a massive enough performance for them, but you can already see Amphis was a part of so many of the goals. Yeah, set up by his team, but he was always there, and such weird positions communicating to his team as well. I mean, there he is, basically hovering in midair for that final shot. That was one of my favorite ones.
It was amazing. That was a great goal.
It just shows how on board their communications are.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's what it comes down to. When we talk about the MVP, he was up against Ghost, veteran, superstar player. Everyone knows who Ghost is. Amphis is the rookie. It's the full Cinderella story. Rookie coming in. He's the key player to watch matchup versus him and Ghost. And he just ended up performing, scored both the goals in overtime to secure the 3-0 against the top team. Well-deserved MVP this week.
All right, well done. Congratulations to him. Now, Arkadian, we do still have 2 more weeks of round robin play to go. So let's take a look at what we're going to be seeing in next week's matches, because we're going to be kicking things off with, oh boy, it's Cringe Society versus Mindfreak. So that's already going to be a good one to start things off with. Then we're going to have Fury taking on Havoc to see if Fury can continue their win streak. Then we'll have Esper taking on Overt in a pretty important battle down near the bottom of the ladder. And then we'll finish things off with Ground Zero versus Renegades. Another good test for both teams.
Absolutely. That last match there, Ground Zero versus Renegades, if Renegades want to keep their dreams alive of getting to the playoffs, they're going to have to start slaying some giants. And Ground Zero is going to be one of those first teams. But the first match, Cringe Society, Mindfreak, I want to be around for that.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be a fantastic one. So you guys are going to have to be there right from the start of the show to catch that one. So make sure you join for it. And so, guys, that is all of our matches today. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Arkadian, for jumping on, replacing Watson for a week.
Thanks for having me. It has been, I think I was here for some fantastic matches. I'm glad to
you got some awesome matches.
I'm glad to see Fury being able to pull it through. And so I appreciate you having me on. And all the best for the following weeks.
All right, guys. Well, again, thank you for watching. We're going to be back with more Rocket League in the next episode. 2 more weeks of League play to go. Make sure you don't miss it, and we'll see you then.